great. That's where I'm going to open, is with the can opening. Hi everyone, welcome to Somehow You Didn't Die on Your Way to Work, Transit Industry Safety Podcast. I'm Joe Zeta.
Oh, and I am your drunkle Zach Lybrand, here to share some more goodies with y'all tonight.
Drunkle. It's a good one. Cool. So yes, we are here again to talk with you about things and stuff, and also the news. Let's go to the news. I like this
News.
I like this template that you found on Google. So this is a very pretty one. This is the only time you will be able to see the entirety of the slide.
Yep.
So first item, this is arguably the weakest transportation link, but it is very interesting nonetheless. So back in June, a tornado menaced Enderlin, North Dakota. It erased 2 houses, killing 3 people. Was caught looking absolutely horrifying on someone's Ring doorbell camera.
That looks like a fucking mushroom cloud.
It does.
I have not seen a tornado look like that. That's terrifying.
So apparently, from what I was seeing people say online, the top of it is like the rain cloud, and you can see the more slender bit, slender in this case not meaning much, on the bottom is actually the tornado itself. It still is absolutely terrifying, and it was classified in EF3 until National Weather Service scientists took another look at the fact that it hurled a fucking tank car 500 feet and reclassified it as an EF5.
Yeah, that takes some serious force. I think that'd be enough to justify it as a higher level.
Yeah, so the tornado passed over, I believe it was a CPKC train that was stopped. Hopefully the crew was not on it. It was like, hopefully it was tied down, but it derailed a number of cars on this train, including a lot of loaded grain hoppers and a quartet of empty tankers, the last of which was moved 480 feet or something similar to that, which proves the wind speeds were high enough to be an EF5, making the Enderlin tornado one of the only EF5 of the 2020s so far, and the last one since 2013.
Jesus.
Also, it meant that I got to read about storm drama, because apparently a lot of the mega tornadoes you may have heard about in the 2010s, like Joplin, I think, and a bunch of those other ones, those should have been classified as EF5s, but because of how EF5 goes off of the EF, the Enhanced Fujita Scale, goes off of damage more than it does wind speed.
Yeah.
And so people who are nerds have made these intensely detailed actuarial tables as to what damage classifies as what. So if like your house has like storm anchors into the foundation and it still is ripped off the foundation, that's an EF5. But if you don't, then it's like an EF4 or an EF3 or an EF2 or something like that. And so essentially a bunch of people who probably like eating the same food at the same time every day, and also probably got and people who got swirlied in middle school and high school and college and should still be swirlied now, have been getting into beefs with each other over whether or not there should be more EF5s or not, based off of like fucking look at the thing, this is an EF5 versus, well, it didn't match this actuarial table and it didn't do this exact thing, and everyone else is going like, holy shit, a 2x4 just went through cement.
I always like there's a scene from one of the episodes of King of the Hill where they talk about the Fujisaki scale, and
Fujita.
Dale Gribble. Fujita.
It was named after.
It makes sense that the quote here has it wrong based on this character. But Dale says this tornado's already registered a level 2 on the Fujisaki scale. A storm that strong will send an egg through a barn door. 2 barn doors if one of them is open. And Bobby asks, "What about a level 3, Mr. Gribble?" And he replies with, "A level 3 tornado will blow an egg right through a brick wall. Twister chasers call it Humpty's revenge."
No, my preferred way of describing an F5 or an EF5 is from the seminal movie about storm chasing
Mm.
Twister, which is The Finger of God. Not not to be confused with the much inferior in-universe sequel Twisters from 2024, which sucked.
I
It
haven't seen Twisters, but I saw
twist
Twister at far too young of an age, and it probably is part of the reason that tornadoes are one of the few things in this world that genuinely scare the shit out of me.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Twister is one of my favorite films, and Twisters feels like two separate drafts were written by committee, and then a third unrelated committee smushed them together,
Took
resulting
chunks out of A, chunks out of B, and slapped it all together to make Twisters.
yes, um many problems with that film. I didn't like it. Uh no, it just wasn't good. It's one of those films where you actually have to sit in the car and think about why it wasn't good
Oh, you got
on
to
your dri
stew on that one for
on
a
your
bit.
drive home, like, "God, this movie sucked. Why?"
My gut tells me it was awful, but
My gut,
why?
my eyes, everything. Oh, God. If you want, it's one of those films that deserves a dissection of why it's bad. But, anyways, we could do that later. Maybe as a bonus episode if anybody wants bonus episodes ever, but for now,
That might
we
be a
will
good Patreon thing.
yeah, if we ever set up a Patreon, we can absolutely do reviewing these movies and why it sucks, featuring twisters and the two of us screaming at Unstoppable for 2 hours.
Oh, I have a headache already just
Uh,
thinking about that.
I went and saw that film. Oh god, the only one that's worse than that is Flight, starring Denzel Washington. The
Damn,
o
Denzel. Why you got
that
to get it
mo
wrong twice?
that movie was marketed to me as though it was like a Grisham legal thriller about like an Alaska Airlines 261 knockoff, and it ended up being some guy's personal victory over addiction. But being me, I was like, this is the worst plane crash movie I've ever seen, and started rooting for the liver cirrhosis.
Jesus.
I do not like that film in the slightest.
You don't say.
So we're gonna keep going.
What do we got? What's next?
Uh
What's next?
uh
Oh,
so I'm gonna play. I have okay. So I have this YouTube video down here in the corner. We may not play all of it, but
I
it's
I already know what that video is. I have seen the whole thing, and it is
uh
perfect for this.
okay.
Septus in some deep shit.
Yeah, so okay, so you know how we've been talking about SEPTA getting all of its money taken away because rural Pennsylvanians don't like Philadelphia? So forget all of that. Forget all of that. This is happening separately. So on the bottom right, you'll see a picture of a train on fire. This happened back in February. We almost covered it for episode 1, but we kept you'll remember that episode 1 came out in June, but I started making the script for episode 1 in like January. So I had to go through a lot of news items as they became less and less
It,
topical.
yeah, this cooked for a while before we actually pulled the trigger.
So, but anyways, this was one of them. A SEPTA train consisting of Silverliner 4 cars, which are the electric multiple units they use on most of their regional rail services, caught on fire. And it's now been deemed by the NTSB that the reason why the Silverliner 4 caught on fire is that there is systemic problems with the train. And so SEPTA had to take all of them out of service to inspect and repair them if needed.
Aren't those silver liners like the backbone of the fleet?
Yes, they are.
Oof.
So
Ooh,
SEPTA
big oof.
SEPTA is running trains now At minimum, they are 2 cars down from what they should be. A guy on Instagram that I follow who lives in Philadelphia was saying that the airport line was down to maybe 1 train an hour, if
Oh,
less. Um, they were having, and this was a sudden thing too, like, to go
yeah.
up
This
into
is
the,
this was just like all of a sudden
yeah,
NTSB came out and was like, "Hey, you really ought to stop doing that. Give you a hint. You ought to stop yesterday."
yeah, and, to go up into the, upper left corner, SEPTA's department head of rail safety maintenance and senior director of regional rail maintenance have just been fired or put on administrative leave.
That's
So this
that's got
is,
to be a coincidence, right?
I'm gonna click on the YouTube video now. Now, just if listen to this and just go through each one of these things and sort of read them one at a time.
Just like that, when they think they're already in a bad
Yeah,
spot, they
like
try
this
to
is,
open a door and find out they can't use it, just like this poor bastard.
I love the play that goes wrong, the goes wrong show so much. Have you ever seen the play that goes wrong?
I have not.
Oh
I've
my
only
God,
seen this clip.
it's so funny. It's like a whole thing. Oh my God.
I did like the little bit of text that popped up on the video that just said "sing along" if you know the words.
Yeah.
It's like, buddy, I've been singing along to this for 15 years. All right. Oh, we get into the second one. Oh, that's a very visual gag. That might not work for the
It's-
audio listeners.
He's loading a muzzle loading gun and the gun breaks. Which, for anyone who's confused about what noises this is a scene from the Goes Wrong show, which is a BBC comedy made by Mischief Theatre, who produced the play that goes wrong, which is, if you've never seen it, and Zach, I'll have to send it to you, they make phenomenal comedy plays about basically they're portraying an incompetent theater company who produce theatrical works that don't go right. So, like,
Yeah, this sounds
everything,
like something I'd enjoy.
oh my God, you'll love it so much. Oh, I'll send you some. They just put the entire show up on YouTube for free. So,
Oh,
I'll send that to you. But we got to go on to the next slide because I'm excited to see what we've got to. So, next one. Oh boy.
ugh.
Oh boy. Can we stop with this performative bullshit? Oh, whatever. I don't care. Anyways, so in order to combat woke, we must punish the cities full of woke minorities.
Absolutely.
And so New York City and Chicago are notably woke and full of wokesters, as my dad might call them. And so um and
I
so
don't know why wokesters just got me.
he's called me a wokester and I'm like, what? So anyways, notably these woke cities suckling on the teat of public welfare have gotten a lot of money from the government for things. And so Chicago, for example, had $2.1 billion of infrastructure projects like like extension to the Red Line, modernization of the Red Line, and the Purple Line, all in the CTA subway system. That money has been put on hold to ensure, to quote, man who I hope bleeds to death through his penis, Russell Vaught, OMB head, have been put on hold to ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting. Similarly, in New York City, the long-awaited Second Avenue subway and the Hudson Tunnel project, which are kind of essential to making sure the Hudson Tunnel project, especially, is kind of essential to making sure that people can move in New York, into and out of and through New York on the Northeast Corridor.
Yeah.
One of the biggest, the biggest transit corridors in the country. He's like, no, you're woke, you're DEI, you can't have this money. So that has all been put on hold. Notably, both of those projects are like shovels in ground in progress. Or like the TBM for the Hudson Tunnel is like being built.
I just can't imagine somebody sitting up there and going,
I
what
can.
if all of this money isn't going to my rich buddies? What if it's making a new rich person?
How
Or
will we
worse
own the
yet,
libs?
what if it's helping somebody be less poor? They might start getting notions.
How will we own the libs?
Ugh.
It's just performative cruelty. There's just
And notably, there is at least one uh, public transit project in Texas that has been called a bit of a boondoggle from the start that has been completely ignored by all of this
is it the Silver Line?
because we voted. It is the Silver Line. It's
The silver
because Texas voted for Trump.
the Silver Line that's opening soon. That can be a news item.
Yes, it is. It's supposed to open. What is it? 15 days from now.
Yeah. We're on Lockheed TriStar Day, October 11th. And so oh, nobody's going to get that joke. It's 10/11. I need to be less of a plain foamer. Did you get that
I
joke at all?
I had to dig real deep into like the dusty corners of my mind, and then I wasn't even sure that I got it. But then you explained, and I was there. There's
Okay.
a bit of plain foamer. There's a bit of plain foamer in me, but I don't think as much as you.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, we're gonna go on to the next one because we're gonna rapid fire through some of these. Uh, oops. So this one is more of a.
Oopsie poopsie.
This one is not really as much of a news thing. There was a minor collision on Metro Lonk in Los Angeles. I call it Metro Lonk because someone in the Well There's Your Problem Discord server does it. Now I can't stop that.
Yeah, it's brainworm.
I almost wrote the caption as Metro Bonk, but at that point, that's like 2 levels of brain rot deep.
I'm disappointed you didn't.
Imagine it says Metro Bonk up there, but theater of your mind, and also this podcast. But more, the real reason why it's in here, because nobody died, services were not even disrupted. Real reason why is, do we want to take a look at this newscaster over here? The Metrolink train collision using a photo of the LA Red Line.
Oh, is that what the. Wait. So Metrolink is the heavy rail commuter, right?
Yes,
They use like the standard S Bombardier
yeah, the Bombardier
pilot,
octagons, yes.
not a subway.
No, that's
Oh,
that's the Red Line. It's Metro,
oops.
it's LA Metro, but not Metrolink
News media will never get anything about trains right,
or planes.
no matter how small.
Mm-hmm. No, they won't. I always want just one day to find like a news anchor for like Omaha or like someplace nobody cares about, like Des Moines or somewhere in Arkansas, who just is also the most foamer you can be and just gets it really detailed.
It's gonna be somewhere that people actively try to ignore, like Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, yeah. Gary's got a lot of train traffic there too.
That's probably why he's there.
Standing in front of the EJ&E sign that's still in front of CN's Kirk Yard. It's still there. I've stopped in Gary once to see the Kirk Yard, which, by the way, don't ever get off the highway in Gary, Indiana.
I was about to say, you're brave to stop there.
I hid in a lot next to the highway off ramp where no one could see me and there was no traffic. And then that was the weekend that Chicago got hit by a haboob, which is a thing that I thought was only ever in like the desert. And so my drone almost crashed trying to photograph Kirk Yard.
Oops.
I got it though. I got those pictures fucking slap. They have like they have engines from the DMIR, the EJ&E, Grand Trunk, Bessemer and Lake Erie, all in there working the yard. It's great for like if you're a Midwest foamer. Soon they'll have William Lake Erie units, if I'm correct, which I am.
Yeah, like that was real hard to predict.
It's not happened yet, but it will. It will.
We
I
talked
got
about that, what,
500.
last episode or the one before?
It's the one that just aired, so that's 2 episodes. That's episode 8.
Oh my God.
So,
All right.
I have $500 riding on the line about that one, but let's go on to our final thing, which this is some real late breaking news and one that you will never ever hear about other than right now, because nothing happened, but it could have. This one I actually found because Facebook knows me well enough to start recommending air crash accident reports in full that someone keeps posting. So this is an investigation made by Britain's AAIB into a runway undershoot in the British Virgin Islands that happened last November. Okay? This occurred.
Okay.
The aircraft in question was November 915 Golf Delta, which we can see in the picture here, which is from plane spotters or jet photos. And then the smaller picture is actually from the airline's website. It's a short SD3, which I think means it's a short 300 or a short 360. I should have guessed that, which is operated by Flamenco Cargo, a division of Air Flamenco, which is a Puerto Rican charter and cargo operations company.
Huh.
Okay, is everyone with me so far? So this aircraft undershot the runway at Terence B. Lettsome International Airport in the British Virgin Islands. If you live in the BVI or you know anything about the BVI, I'm sorry. I thought I knew where this was, and then I realized that no, I don't. Like, I don't know where geographically that would be on the islands or anything, what town even. But they undershot the runway. And if you look at the diagram on the top, this is why that's a problem.
So if you're not watching, there is a little bit of road, a fairly steep but very compact hill. And at the very top of that hill is where the runway starts. And we're looking at an elevation change between the road and the runway of
15
what?
feet?
Maybe
20?
15? It is
Yeah.
not much. So it's basically like there's a lip between the
Yeah.
road and the runway.
Yeah, and so what happened was that this flight came in, clearly did not have the approach perfect. They managed to they didn't go around, which they should have. And so but they managed to just goose the engines enough that they didn't smash into the hillside, and instead took out the stanchions on the fence holding up the barbed wire. They took out a runway lamp and actually took out like chunks of grass on the edge of the cliff face leading down to the road. And this came within like several seconds of being a complete hull loss of the aircraft, which it was a cargo flight. There were only the pilot and co-pilot aboard, so it would have been filed under plane crashes that no one gives a shit about. But what's really why I bring it up is that we will learn, and I mean this 110% seriously, nothing from this accident, because this happened in the British Virgin Islands, which means that it's a British investigation. Which means that when Flamenco was asked for any information on this, how long the pilots have been flying, what their schedule was like, how the aircraft was doing, anything like that we would need to know, they did not respond.
You can do that?
I guess. The AAIB cannot definitively stick a cause to this because they don't have any information. And I guess they can't go after it. And even better, because the crew did not know, the crew did not realize how close they came to dying, that they took off, they did a walk around to the airport, just like as you're supposed to do, unloaded or loaded or whatever the hell they were doing in the British Virgin Islands, and then left. Like they flew away, and the airport only called them later. Like you took out a runway light, and
Yeah.
so it didn't.
Hey, do you remember? Do you guys remember seeing that light on when you got here?
Yeah, and they and so what that meant is that they didn't actually elevate this into a serious accident as opposed to just like an incident for like 4 or 5 days, sort of like what happened with the Air Canada flight we talked about in the fatigue episode, which meant that
Oh,
any recording devices either weren't present or more likely were wiped over. I don't know what the Shorts 360 how that fits into like is this required to have a voice recorder and a data recorder? I think it
shoot.
is, but it's
It
probably
it probably is, but it probably just got overwritten by
yeah,
several days
yeah. And
of
so
stuff afterward.
Flamenco Air Flamenco just didn't give them anything. The pilots did not respond either. So the AAIB has nothing. And this is like I'm personally kind of shocked by this because that's not how this is supposed to go. And
I
so
all I can imagine now is the AAIB approaching Flamenco Cargo uh, once they realize that they need to look into this, and upper management at Flamenco then pulls the pilot and the co-pilot into the room, and they say, "Hey, I really need y'all to watch this. This is going to be a an official job briefing." The manager passes them a phone, and it's just a video of the two lawyers teaching you about "Shut the fuck up" Friday.
yes.
And then after they watch it, the manager goes, "All right, will you sign this saying that we had this briefing, please?" All right, thanks.
Yeah, this
And then
is
all of a sudden, the AAIB comes knocking at the door.
yeah. And just so that everyone's clear, Air Flamenco also runs passenger services. They're non-scheduled charter operations, and I don't think they're with the Short 360, but they run them. So if they run apparently Norman Britain Islanders and Trilanders. I didn't know that they
Ooh,
had any Trilanders in the US. Do you know
news
what
to me.
the Trilander is?
Yes, I have seen that.
I didn't know they had any, but apparently they've got at least one. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a 3-engine propeller plane. The
Yeah,
third engine is in the tail like a DC-10. So if you are down in
it's if you've ever seen a Ford tri-motor, imagine that middle motor that was on the nose is now sitting on the tail. It looks just as goofy as you could imagine.
yeah, if you are in Puerto Rico and you happen to get onto a plane that says flamenco on the side,
Make sure your
I
will is up to date before you hop on that flight.
I hope you're not listening to this as they close the door.
Oof! Oh, that'd be painful.
If you live, let us know.
Send an email to us, syddoywtw@gmail.com. Did you survive your flight?
If you didn't survive, make sure that you film it going down and tag us before you hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We are,
Ask your next of kin to send us an email,
yeah,
and
yeah, or
I'm
find
not
us on
saying it
social
again.
media at don't or just some just don't find us on social media. Come to us in a dream. Come to us in a dream, and we'll include it in the episode then. If any listener dies in a major transportation accident, we will cover it if you let us know.
Yeah,
That
and
sounds
that's the
joking, but
somehow you didn't die on your way to work promise.
yes, you have to let us know somehow, but before or after you die. But we will cover it if we are aware of it.
I do have a Ouija board in my clipboard. You can contact me through that. That clipboard goes with me to work. It is a sticker, but I use it when I don't know how the day is going to go and I need help.
Have a Ouija board at work. It's just such a sentence.
Hasn't let me down yet.
Is this
Of course,
genset?
the only thing I asked it was, "Is this plan stupid?" And it went immediately to yes.
Is
So
this genset going to fail? Yes.
yes, see, 100%.
Um. Okay. Speaking of things going wrong, let's go into our next slide, which is an addendum to the Gettysburg thing. Uh, so this is to
Ooh.
do with Gettysburg number 76, which was formerly Mississippian Railway number 76. Um, and so I have a couple of screenshots here from Railway Preservation News Forum, which give more color to exactly how dilapidated the 76 was. And actually, it shows why that to get to sum all of this up, we can read this in a second. To sum all of this up, luck was a huge factor of it, but I don't think they would have been running the 76 on that dinner train because it was clearly obvious that the 76 couldn't handle the dinner train.
It sounds like they were just running it till the wheels fell off and it
Funny
was
you should
getting down to the
mention
end of it.
Funny you should
I
mention the wheels. We'll get to that
yup.
in just a second. So anyways, so looking through some of this, you could see the locomotive struggling with the gondola and the combine. You could hear the side rods hammering the brasses.
And, and for context, the brasses in this case are the bearings for the side rods that let it turn around. So the brasses had been worn out so much that they were uh, significantly larger than the material from the side rod that was supposed to be in the brass. So that material was then bouncing around inside of the bearing. So not good.
Inside the cab, they kept pulling the throttle back, and it sound and in the gondola they had to retreat back to the combine because plexiglass roof or not, the hailstorm of cinders was even enough to drive me out. I'll never forget the young family with a white teenage daughter in a white confirmation dress. They were right up front and the cinders were so bad they ran for the combine. uh
And she was crying.
yeah
Oh dear.
Talked to the crew when we got back and asked why the loco was working so hard. I'll never forget the comment that they had to reduce the boiler pressure to run it. I have a vague recollection of seeing the steam gauge around 150, but I wouldn't.
That's really low.
That's not good. Uh, then let's go on to the next one. Let's let's go into this one on the other side of the big one. So that is on the right side. The Gettysburg RR was of the early 1980s was the most authentic time capsule, the last of steam railroading, just as it was carried out in both good and bad ways. Casual, easygoing atmosphere, chewing gum and baling wire. If you can't fix it with a hammer. I'm glad I got to experience the many sights and sounds I did, but I'm also glad they're not around to inflict that same experience on unsuspecting and innocent tourists. Now, now the center one is the big one. So, for those who don't know, an anonymous steam railroading institute that owns an anonymous steam locomotive themed after the Christmas, used
After the Christmas.
themed after Christmas, purchased 76 from its previous owner, which was the Ohio Central Railroad before Age of Steam really became a thing. So these pictures on the far right of the screen, you can see the engine in the middle. We've got the engine in service at Gettysburg doing freight work. Then you've got the picture of the engine in only mildly worse condition at Ohio Central, and then at the anonymous Railroading Institute, where it's getting torn down for possible rebuilding at the on the bottom
Yeah,
picture.
they took a
Yeah,
lot off. That's when you know they're like actually taking a real serious look at it.
and it was supposed to accompany their Christmas themed 284 on its many journeys to the North Pole and back. I'm really This is a gag. You have to know this by this point, but um a, a, a couple of so to quote this center one, a couple of years ago when the institute that owned it first got its young explorers opened with the 76 restoration, they found the running gear to be completely used up. New spring hangers, equalizers, bushings, all the crosshead bearings and rod brasses needed to be replaced. The drive tires were worn concave and have to be replaced too. The boiler may be okay, but I can't imagine the amount of scale inside due to the Gettysburg awful water and the fact that they very rarely used boiler treatment. It's a shame because the 76 was lovingly cared for by its original owner, the Mississippian Railway, and was in excellent condition when delivered to the Penview Mountain Railroad.
Oh God.
wrote in 1967. They took reasonably good care of it until 1973, when the
Uh,
owners needed every last cent to move to Blairsville for the Blairsville and Indiana Railroad that we mentioned very briefly in the Gettysburg episode, which never got off the ground, eventually became the Gettysburg. And then 76 started to wear down fast on the 16-mile-an-hour round trips. 16-mile round trips. The few times that the few times riding the train with 76's power in the 80s, there was always something wrong with the engine. Leaking pipes, odd air compressor issues, and one time she was so out of square, we didn't think we would make it to Gardner's. Her gate was 1-2 pause 3-4, which is really fucking bad.
and that gate is the chuffing that you hear when a
Yes.
steam locomotive is moving. If it The goal is to get it as close to square as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A steady cadence. Every now and then, as that valve timing starts to wear out a little bit, sometimes you get like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But if it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is bad.
You've given the engine, I think the correct medical term is tachycardia. Whichever one that your heartbeat isn't regular. I don't remember which one is, but that's basically what it is. Now, and okay, and just before we go on to the pièce de résistance of this piece, I just want to point out 76 is now currently, after the Steam Railroading Anonymous Society d- sold the locomotive because they, according to an anonymous contact that I personally know, basically they pulled the engine apart, looked at it, and then, did you ever see the movie Daddy Daycare?
No.
There's a scene in the movie Daddy Daycare starring Eddie Murphy where one of the children that he is daycaring has issues going to the bathroom, and so he just opens the bathroom door, looks left, looks right, and then with a look of horror looks up, and it's like and then just closes the bathroom door.
Oh, God.
I imagine that's what they did with this locomotive, because this locomotive was so fucked, they put it back together, buttoned it up, and sold it to a B&O Railroad Museum in North Maryland. Not the B&O Railroad Museum, but one in like Oakville, Oakwood, a smaller B&O themed museum. It's that museum.
I'm
Oh,
wondering just how bad it was because I'm looking at that picture on the left of one of the
Zach,
drive wheels, and it.
Zach, there's a reason that picture's there. Give me 1 second.
Oh
they
no!
they they dressed the locomotive up as B&O 476, where it still is there to this day, in mostly the same condition it was when the Gettysburg used it up last, because nobody wants to touch it. So anyways, now on to this picture. So the first thing that we need to note is, Zach, so look at the boiler above the wheel. Do you see how there's all the rivets there and everything,
Sure.
as like boilers are supposed to have? Do you notice how the rivet heads are not there around the wheel?
Yes, they look flat.
There's supposed to be a wear strip there.
Oh, it was just grinding up against those.
Yes.
Oh no!
But no, it gets worse. So I need to sort of give everyone a bit of front load some information on what a drive tire is on a steam locomotive. Steam locomotives and a lot of other locomotives in this that are sort of built like this have the actual wheel itself, and then there's a larger steel tire that goes over it that is like heat shrunk to the wheel with fire. That sort of it acts as both a wear thing and also to sort of keep the wheel itself from having, so you can take that off. You don't have to like redo the entire
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah. You don't have to cast a whole new hub and tread and flange. You just basically take off the tread and the flange. That's what your tire is,
Yes.
and replace that, and that's a lot cheaper to
Yeah.
replace.
So
It's a wearable component.
yeah, 76 had these. At some point during Gettysburg's ownership, they needed to be replaced. Gettysburg obviously waste not, want not, except want for money. Um, what locomotive in the 70s or 80s, and I would like to say there's no empirical proof to this one. This is anecdotal, but it fits. I need you to make sure everyone's aware of that. I don't have proof for this, but they would do this. What locomotive in the 1980s is being replaced and retired and scrapped that they could take the wheel tires off of and put them on the 76.
That's that size? I'm
It's roughly that size. There's like a 6-inch difference, but
That's a
what
lot.
what locomotive did they take the tires off of, Zach?
Is this one of oh, I cannot remember his name. One of the dude who got in a fight with Metro and they scrapped his locomotives?
No, no, I know which
No?
dude. Let me give you a hint. You bent one of these once.
That hint is not helping me. What is this from?
Okay, so in the 1930s, the Pennsylvania Railroad built a locomotive that was not a steam locomotive. But
No.
because it was built in the
No.
1930s, the GG1 had cast
Fuck.
drivers like a steam locomotive with tires.
Oh.
They took 57-inch GG1 tires and made them fit on the 51-inch wheels for the 76. I don't know how, but they did. Allegedly.
That's
They
that would be
took
impressive. That would be so much fucking filler material.
I don't know. No, the tires were smaller on the I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they did. Maybe they cut them and welded them, who knows? But they that is the rumor that came out of SRI. I have no idea how they would have figured this out, but that was the only locomotive in the 1980s that would have had either spares or just wheels that they were getting rid of.
Yeah.
There is no other locomotive that
That
would have
they
had
could buy for scrap value? Yeah,
yeah, that would have
probably.
had wheels that size. And they were close too, because they're in eastern Pennsylvania. Like,
This dude still makes my head hurt.
also for anyone listening, yes, Zach did bend a GG1 once.
Okay, so I bent part of the bodywork. All right. If you take it around a curve that's a little too tight, the trucks swing out pretty far and they push out on the body. To be fair, that wasn't my choice, but somebody absolutely was hell bent on having it on display on that track, and we started pushing. And we already knew we were going to have to push a little bit just because it was a tight curve, but then we got even more resistance from the truck frames hitting the body and trying to push those out too. So if you look at a particular GG1 that's really far from home, the middle set of trucks on the ends closest to the middle, if you look above them, you will see the body just kind of bows out in a couple of different points as the radius of the curve changed and hit different spots.
How dare you
So
bend
that's that.
the GG1 at NRM? At National Railroad Museum in Green Bay. How dare you bend that one?
Well, maybe that's why they won't let me touch theirs. But yeah, that's how I destroyed works of art and museum artifacts. I didn't really destroy it, but I definitely made it look worse.
Did you check if it had driver tires on it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I could see that plain as day. There's a very clear line between the hub and the tire itself.
So we know that that's not the engine they used for 76.
No.
But anyway, that is pretty much.
So you didn't touch on the one thing that I saw, which is that tire also seems to have chunks of the flange missing.
Yeah, the person that sent me this photo did mention that. I assume that rubbing against the firebox and cutting grooves into it is bad.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how you do that. They're not like huge dramatic chunks, but it's definitely not a round wheel.
Yeah, well, I imagine that if you don't maintain your locomotive,
that would do it.
That'll
That'd probably do it.
Yeah, like
all right.
Everything, every wear item on this locomotive is it. Well, it's a wear item, so it's worn. That's the so there's not a single unused part on this engine.
Well, we are,
And now we can
let's
go
see,
on to the next slide, which I
we
think
are
is
45 minutes into this, and now we're gonna get to the easy part. We're gonna do a little bit of a filler episode today. So first, we got to go over what is a filler episode, Joe. Um,
I saw this. This is great. It's
this A filler episode is a direct result of fatigue. It is typically low effort, which I thought it was going to be
no,
until
it's not.
earlier today. We'll see. You'll see why it's not as low effort as I thought it was going to be. It's semi-serious, and it's a naturally occurring phenomenon when one or more podcast hosts has their standard routine upended. And this one is caused by the fact that I am currently going through locomotive engineer training right now, and my schedule is going all over the place. Um, and that is in reference to both time and geography. I don't I didn't ever really expect to end up in Florida for any part of engineer training, but I had to spend 2 weeks out there for classroom training. And I'm back now. My schedule is awful, and I have not had time to really dive into anything serious. So we're going to talk about something that I have become very familiar with over several years. Let's hit that next slide. We're going to take a look at something that I have a love-hate relationship. Uh, the McKinney Avenue Transit Authority in Dallas, Texas. This is honestly one of the coolest little bits of public transit, and the fact that it's in Texas seems to be an anomaly for this state.
Yeah, I saw it. It looked very quaint. It seemed
But it's
very
functional.
yeah, it
It
seemed
is
very
actually
un-Texas.
incredibly functional. Yeah, it's definitely not a very Texas thing, and it took a very special set of circumstances to get that. So what led to it was that in 1983, the city of Dallas was repaving McKinney Avenue, which at the time was kind of a shitty neighborhood. It had a handful of restaurants on it that were they weren't like fast food. They weren't quick dining service, but they weren't the nicest of restaurants. There wasn't a dress code going in there, but all these restaurant owners were trying to improve the neighborhood a bit, and they noticed that when the city tore up McKinney Avenue to repave it, there were train tracks down the middle of it. So somebody started digging. Actually, not somebody. A one specific restaurant owner named Phil Cobb started digging and got in touch with a historian named Ed Landrum. And Ed Landrum informed him that those tracks were actually from the original Dallas Railway and Terminal Service, who used to run the streetcar service in Dallas until January of 1956. So,
See our Texas Electric episode for more on that.
yeah, the Phil Cobb and Ed Landrum got together and did some fundraising and I guess a gathering of knowledge, and got several people with deep pockets together, and they were going to start streetcar service again. Not exactly streetcar service, but they wanted to do a museum, something to draw people to that neighborhood and to keep the neighborhood looking nice. So over the next 6 years, they went through a serious process of getting permits, uh, changing the rebuilding of the street to allow for rails to not be paved over again. Because when Dallas got rid of the streetcars, just as the streets that had streetcar tracks needed to be repaved, they just repaved it and straight over the rails, and that's what they were going to do here.
A lot of
But they,
places do that.
yeah,
Like your small town might have that. Actually, where I live, they actually were digging up part of the street for an intersection. They dug up part of the old Lakeshore Electric line down the middle of Main Street, and I know this because I know the city's administrative assistant. She's a nice lady named Lisa. She asked me if I wanted it, and
Whoa.
And so I got a foot-long section of 100-pound rail that was donated to the Northern Ohio Railway Museum that I volunteer at on my city's behalf. So that thing was so rusty. It
I
was
had an opportunity to do something similar, and I really regret that I didn't. I'll actually get to that here
this,
by the towards the end of this slide.
the city burned up. They told me they burned up like 4 saw blades cutting that.
God, I'd believe that. That metal was different back then. I don't know how. I'm not a metallurgist,
Yes.
but it had to be different somehow. So over those 6 years, they like I said, they got everything set up for operations. They acquired things like a rectifier, which would take AC power from Texas Utilities and convert it to DC at 600. I think they had to go up to 660 volts DC. They got a handful of streetcars, uh, most of which had to be rebuilt, some more extensively than others. Notably, one of them had to be rebuilt from a chicken coop to a functioning streetcar.
That I love that.
That's my favorite car. I do
It
miss that one.
I love the life cycle of an interurban car, which is transit to housing to ruin.
Oh, there's another one that was a man cave on at somebody's lake house.
Excellent. Oh yeah, it had to go. They had to one up the monorail guy, and they didn't.
They tried so hard they didn't. Actually, I think they were part of the reason that the monorail guy felt the need to one up, because that would have been first.
Oh my god.
But they got all this going, and in 1989 they actually started operations. It was a museum with a 2.8-mile loop. It sort of touched into downtown a little bit. It got a decent way into uptown, but they kept it going. And they had a barn that was an old warehouse that they had bought and kept the cars in there and set up a decent little machine and woodworking shop in there to just to be able to work on these cars. The the next big step for them didn't come for another, would it be 13 years. In 2002 they opened a northern loop, and that took their route, extended it from McKinney and Hall Street, where it used to curve back around south to Cole and Hall and go back towards downtown. Now it went north and actually made a connection with the Dallas area rapid transit light rail at City Place Uptown Station. And when they did that, they accidentally copied like 95% of a bus route that DART was operating.
Huh.
And DART approached them and said, "Hey, we see you're doing pretty much the same thing we are. We don't see a need to have both streetcars and buses on this route. So we'd like to cut the bus and just give you money for the traffic instead. How's that sound?" And from the time that agreement was actually inked and signed, they went from being a museum to a fully functional public transit system. This also meant that they weren't charging fares anymore. When it was a museum, they charged anywhere between, I think, 50 cents and I think it got up to $2 at one point just to ride. But when
Such
they started getting
extravagance.
money for DART from DART, they went fully free. The motorman just kept a count of how many people got on the car, and they would turn those numbers into DART and then get a check for whatever percentage of the overall DART ridership that was. But McKinney Avenue Transit got to remain its own separate. I didn't mention it was founded as a 501c3 nonprofit. It got to remain a separate 501c3 nonprofit and still get paid to run this.
That's fantastic.
It was a fortunate set of circumstances. The next big thing was they actually expanded south into downtown on May 4th, 2015. The former route ended at the intersection of St. Paul Street and Ross Avenue. The new extension continued southward from there, made another connection with the DART light rail at the Pearl Art. No, I'm sorry, not Pearl Arts District. It connected at the St. Paul station. It kind of cut on the other side of a building from that station on Federal Street and then returned northbound on Olive Street, made a big loop. It also ended up going through two sections of a brand new park that the city had opened that was getting a lot of good traffic. It was a very unique park in that it was built over a freeway. It was not there was nothing there. They put a deck cap over the freeway and then put a park on top of that. And now this streetcar went through two sections of it.
Huh. That's really
And
interesting. What's
it
someplace like Texas doing all this?
I don't know. Like I said, it's a very, very specific set of circumstances that led to this being possible. And as of right now, all the funding comes from the federal government. They still get money for ridership and private donations. You can either make a donation through their website, or every time you get on the car, there are old fare boxes that you don't have to pay a fare. But if you want to, throw a couple of bucks in there or something, you could just throw some money in there, and that goes towards keeping the streetcars running.
You can
They
also do that
own,
at any transit museum. I guarantee you they will check the
yeah,
fare boxes. Source, I check the fare boxes
yeah,
at my
that's a really
museum.
cool way to connect donations. If you see a fare box on a car in a museum or at any nonprofit, I should say, maybe think about throwing something in there.
Throw a
These
$100
are
in there, you coward.
these are so expensive to run and maintain. So they right now, if I remember correctly, they own 13 different streetcars, but only 7 are operable at this time. The of those 7, 3 of them are originally from Dallas. The other 4 come from Toronto, Canada, Brussels, Belgium, Oporto, Portugal, and Melbourne, Australia. Now, when this was a museum, it was run entirely by volunteers, but McKinney Avenue Transit began hiring employees full time in 2002 when it became an actual public transit service. And over the years, it has shifted primarily to full time employees. However, they do still accept volunteers, mostly in the shop to do repair work or just clean up anything you can do in there to help keep them running or keep them looking nice. Getting a volunteer slot to be a motorman or a conductor is a little harder because you kind of have to work around the schedules of the guys who work there full time.
Yeah. Get paid to drive a trolley. Don't do it for free. Unless you're
Absolutely
at
not.
unless you're at a museum, at which point they can't pay you. You know that.
Yes.
They're
But if you're
probably
running public transit, they're getting federal funds for it, get paid for it. Which
if
is
you're
exactly what I did. Let's take a look at that next slide.
who's that incredibly thin man with no facial hair?
Oh my God, believe it or not, I used to be that small. So I have worked for McKinney Avenue Transit twice. The first time was during high school. I was a conductor. I was too young to be a motorman, so I would go through and work with motormen who were on cars that having a second person on there would be helpful. Like on the Melbourne W2 streetcar we had, it had center doors that could only be controlled from a little stand right next to the door. That's really hard to work with when you've got a standing room only crowd.
Yeah, that's our car at our museum has that too. Are yours air powered or electric?
Neither. You have to move a handle that pops a little lock, and then you have to reach over and push the doors open.
Oh, damn.
And
Yeah.
then when you're ready to close them, you have to bring them almost all the way closed, go back to that little handle and jam it into the wall really hard to actually get the locking mechanism to engage.
Damn, Australia. Shaker Heights managed to get air powered doors in 1914. Get on our
This
level.
was this was not Melbourne's fault. There was no
There
there
was
was
no
no
air in
folding there.
Australia?
There was no folding door there event originally. It was just an
Oh,
open door.
oh, yours is a fold. Ours slide. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's a bifolding door that was added on by McKinney Avenue Transit
Oh,
after they
come
bought
on.
it. Yeah. They
Thank you.
closed, so it had 4 openings in the center saloon. They closed off 2 on opposite corners from each other and then put 2 bifold doors on the openings that remained. And those were the doors that are still being used today.
Okay. That makes more that makes more sense. Okay, you have to say something now to make sure this records.
I'm scared too. What if it doesn't work? Oh, thank God. Oh,
Yes.
thank God. The line is squiggly.
Okay. So
Oh,
we had a moment there of some technical difficulties, and
like eight and a
then
half moments of technical
we had
difficulties.
different technical difficulties where Zencaster just wasn't recording anything that Zach was saying. So, anyways, we're going to pick off from where I think his microphone cut out the first time, which is who is the nice lady standing directly under you?
So I came back to Mata in March of 2014, and I was working there as a motorman. It was supposed to be a seasonal position over the summer, and then somebody left, and it made an opening for me. So I ended up moving back out to Texas full time, and uh, brought my wife with me. We moved in, and after I don't know 4 or 5 months of us being out here, she actually joined me. She also started as a conductor, but then quickly moved up to being a motorman as they needed more people. And that particular photo is from a night where we were testing the new loop downtown before it actually opened.
Oh, that's so. That Foamer date night. You and your wife,
Absolutely.
who are the crew of this trolley, get to test the the rare mileage.
Now, the messed up part was that she was qualified as a motorman at that point, but that day had been working as a conductor. The managers asked myself and the other motorman on duty that night to stay late so we could do this test. I asked, they said they wanted to do it with 3 streetcars. So I said, well, hey, can we put Sasha on the third one? If somebody else wants to go home or wants to stay on the ground and not have to worry about running, they can actually just look at it, make sure all the clearances are good and whatnot. And they said, no, we're we're going to keep that. If she wants to come along, she can do it off the clock. And we had rode into work together. So she had to stay and ride along with me. But we did get a cool picture out of it.
Simply drive the trolley down the street, gouging into the asphalt as you go towards her house, towards your house.
So that's going to be a story for
Oh
another
no.
episode, should we ever do this. But somebody has run one of these off the end of tracks before.
Oh God. Um.
All right, all right, all right.
So, what?
Top right.
Top right. That is not a Bernie. I thought it was a Bernie. I was a fake foamer for a moment. That's a Brill car.
That is a 1909 Brill single trucker built for Porto, Portugal.
Yes.
And it is the oldest car in regular service in North America. They still use this. They try not to use it very much, but they still use this.
That car must be so much fun in the summer.
No, it's fucking horrible in the summer. I hate it.
My
I
museum
in the
has
spring.
has
Okay, in Texas, summer is hell. So there's like 3 weeks in the spring and 3 weeks in the fall where that car is just fantastic. Any other time, it's terrible. You'll
Yeah.
notice that the motorman does not get any protection from the elements whatsoever.
I'm sure you have a nice breeze.
Okay, it's like sticking your head in a convection oven every time you move the car.
That sounds like a you problem. My museum has a 1914 Coolman, and which is god awful, but you sort of internalize it because they didn't have mechanical air conditioning then. What really gets me is our 1950s rapid transit car that we use, which looks for all the world like it should have air conditioning, and it doesn't.
Oh
And it
God.
well, even better, it does have giant fucking exhaust fans, but it uses too much electricity to run those and the car at the same time.
Hell yeah.
So I just walk in there and I look at the exhaust fans and I'm just like, oh, and it's a steel car.
It's
Oh,
right there. It's so close.
it's not going to make it any cooler, but I can hope. Also, if I may complain about my museum for 1 second, the official staff polo shirt color is black. We are a summer only museum. Do you know why it's black?
To hide grease.
No.
Oh,
Walt, the president of the museum, who has been here since the day one in the 60s, his favorite color is black.
that's a really shitty justification.
The shirts are also polyester. I
Oh,
intentionally show up in my Hawaiian shirts that are bright colors and breathable, and I just am like, I won't wear it. Give me a lanyard. They gave me a lanyard finally.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
no,
I
don't. That's a ridiculous outfit.
do, they're oh, we could also get them in gray.
Oh, how considerate.
Gray and I'm not sure if it's poly, it might be a blend. It's not. It's I just know. Anyways, so now I can break out. Now that we're talking about this Porto car and other just like car, I can break out my one piece of interesting and obscure Fomer knowledge for this episode, which is that Yakima Valley has some of these. And the story behind how they got them and how a lot of these Porto cars got out is really fascinating, which is that in the 70s, Portugal had what's called the Carnation Revolution, when whatever totalitarian, authoritarian government they had in Portugal was going away. Basically, a lot of heritage streetcar companies were calling up, can we have some? Because we don't have any, and it's been like long enough that like you can't find any that are in scrapyards anymore, so you need to start asking people who are using them. That's also why the Melbourne W2 cars are so prevalent, because Melbourne used them and
Yes.
continued using them. But the interesting thing about the Porto cars is that Portugal's government really stopped existing after a point, and there was a new government. And so Yakima Valley had this really interesting moment of they paid for them to be shipped, and then basically all of the government positions ceased to exist in charge of dealing with this, and they had no idea what happened. Until
Whoops.
about 6 months later, when a very confused man from the port of Houston called them. It's like, where do you want these? Because what had happened was that the harbor master of Porto Port, or I hope Porto has a port, but wherever it would be, um,
Be a
ba-
real awkward name if it didn't.
basically had as his last act as harbor master, or maybe it wasn't the harbor master, maybe it was like the head of the Porto streetcar system, whatever, had gotten these trolleys put onto the nearest boat that was going to the US, which ended up being some freighter going to Houston. And so and so they eventually just showed up there, like, and they had to be transported to Washington from Houston on the Union Pacific under armed guard, like a nuclear transport, because they were so worried someone was going to see these perfectly preserved bright yellow things and tag them or shoot at them. So Union Pacific stuck armed cops in a caboose right behind them, all the way up to Washington State, which is our fun foamer fact for the day.
That is such that. So I have heard that happened with several of these cars. 122 allegedly was one of the cars that was slightly more lucky. A guy in San Francisco who wanted to broker these out to cities who wanted streetcars again ordered several of them, and like you said, got radio silence for quite a while. Luckily, his ended up on a ship that went to San Francisco, but it was not the ship that he was expecting them to be on. So he didn't know where they were for quite a while.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's, and if anyone's ever wondering why like there's always like these foreign streetcars in the US, it's because we didn't fucking have them. Like my museum has a Rio de Janeiro open car in a back barn because they just ended up here and we bought it from another museum.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, how did this car get to Dallas, Zach? That's an interesting story, isn't it?
Oh, technical difficulties make it so hard to keep up with what I've already said. 122, the Porto car, was being run in San Francisco on what was then just their heritage streetcar line. Um, and Phil Cobb, some point shortly after McKinney Avenue Transit became a thing, and they were looking for equipment to use, he went to San Francisco, saw this car in service, found the owner of it, and wrote a check for it on the spot, and had it shipped to Dallas.
God, the ultimate foamer dream right there. Forget having a girl, just being able to buy a streetcar on site.
Now, I will preface this with this is purely my opinion, and it
Having a girl is better.
does
I bet it is.
this is purely my opinion in that it does not represent anybody else's views. But Phil Cobb is an asshole, and if it wasn't for the fact that he had such deep pockets, he would have no meaningful contribution to the world. But because he had deep pockets, he was able to get streetcars back to Dallas.
I I love complicated legacies like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, you son of a bitch. If only you'd been a good person, there'd be statues of you in every city. Or at least of part of you. We all know which part.
Jumbo?
Yes.
Yeah. So
And then what's this other picture of you in a moody streetcar with the rain out? It rained. The windows are wet. That's shocking. I thought that wasn't allowed to happen in Texas.
no, we actually do get quite a bit of rain here. Um, it's just that there's like 4 or 5 months where we don't get any. But that was just a very beautiful shot that I couldn't pass up. And I had just gotten a new phone that had a much better camera than anything else that I'd previously used. So I wanted to take this really cool photo. That's just the interior of the Melbourne streetcar. That one also has an interesting story about how it ended up in Dallas. It was one of the last cars to be sold by the city of Melbourne because they realized that they were selling off their legacy and that they needed to keep some. The McKinney Avenue Transit got in a bidding war with Neiman Marcus
Oh God.
to get this car. And
What was Neiman Marcus going to put in the catalog or something?
no, that would have a more lasting impact than what they're going to use it for. Neiman Marcus wanted to use it in a fashion show and then cut it up.
Those fucks.
So there was a bidding war back and forth. And then this was right at that time where Melbourne was getting really into making sure that there was going to be some legacy of these cars that they had built entirely in-house, so to speak. And finally, they asked these two companies that were bidding on this one streetcar what they were going to use them for. McKinney Avenue Transit said, we want to put it in service. It's representative of a similar style of car that we used to run out here. And Neiman Marcus said, we want to use it in the fall fashion show for 1980 whatever. And question mark? And it was heavily implied that it was just going to be cut up and thrown away. So Melbourne said, fuck that, and awarded the win to McKinney Avenue Transit.
I will say using a trolley in a fashion show would be cool as hell, but like you need to not have it be single use.
That's I can't even figure out how they were going to use it.
I don't want to
Was
know.
it just a stage prop? Who knows?
Who could say? But
running these cars, I was there for what would it be, about a year and a half, and let me tell you, that was a hell of a ride. Let's take a look at some of my favorite incidents from there. Let's go to the next slide.
Uh-oh.
So it's not supposed to do that.
No.
It's not a bad derailment, but that is indeed a derailed streetcar. And
is that the Melbourne car?
That is the Melbourne car. So on this fateful day, for some reason, this car had to be taken back to the shop. The map on the right shows the street that goes up and down in the image, and the tracks are highlighted with red. That's the main line on McKinney Avenue. And then there's a line that branches off to the right of the image in blue, and that's the lead that goes back to the car barn. So I was on the south side, the bottom side of the intersection shown there, on a different streetcar, waiting for the woman that was running the Melbourne car to get down the shop lead and get out of my way so that I could keep going on. Um,
Were you going to
the
buy Bitcoin from the ATM?
Man, that wasn't there. I wish it was. I could be so fucking rich right now. The the So McKinney Avenue is one way going north, and that's up towards the top of the image. So to get back to the car barn, you have to go against the flow of traffic, and there are no traffic lights, so you really just have to watch traffic and make a judgment call. So the motorman of this car saw a good safe opportunity to go and started to ease around the corner, and I saw the whole car lift up and plop down. And for some reason, I already had my radio in my hand. So I just keyed up and said, "Hey, 369, you need to stop." And at the same time, she had realized that she derailed, that something didn't, well, she didn't realize she derailed, but she realized that something didn't feel right. And she was already stopping. And it was very low speed. So it was almost instant. And we walked over, and there was a nice little derailment right there. What caused this was a combination of two factors. Number one is that Mata does not like to pay for new wheels. The flanges on the wheels of this car were so thin it was scary,
Oh boy.
and that made it more prone to splitting switches. And then you put that on a switch that is prone to being split because it is so old, and you get a derailment.
Okay.
All of these, well, I won't say all of them. The vast majority of the switches on the McKinney Avenue transit route are original in that they were
Dug out
ordered
of the
by,
street?
yeah, they were original Dallas Transit Company switches, or even earlier Dallas Street Railway or various private company switches. And when Mata was starting, they took maps of the streetcar routes and metal detectors and found switches in the street buried under the asphalt, got permission to dig them up, cut them out, and then put them where they needed to go
That's the
along the
strangest
Mata
form
route.
of prospecting Texas has ever seen.
It's actually really fun. I helped find a set once. We were looking at maybe digging out some more for a possible future extension. We didn't end up using them, but it was fun to block traffic and wave a metal detector around and try to draw out what we were finding.
There's gold in them thar hills. Hills meaning an intersection and gold meaning a switch.
So yeah, that was the fun little derailment. It wasn't hard to clean up. We were less than half a block away from the car barn, so I just made a phone call to the mechanic that was in the shop at the time and asked her to come out and take a look at it and see what we could do. And we both agreed that the motorman had caught this so early that we could just back up, get back on the tracks, and then kind of babysit it and walk it through the switch, make sure it didn't try to do it again, and nothing would be damaged. And I'm very proud to say that the motorman on this car was my wife, and she caught that quicker than I probably would have.
That's fantastic.
And she still brags about it today.
I hope that every single anecdote, or most of these, is just you at the end going, "My wife."
My
Like,
wife. Let me see. Hang on. Let me check. Man, I had to get written notes mostly for one of these incidents we're going to talk to later.
it turns out that
She
Mata
gets
was-
mentioned in the last one, but not because of what you might think.
It turns out that just the entirety of Mata was you and Sasha for like 18 months.
Almost. Like, we kept the night shift going for quite a while. It was us and a mechanic who will remain unnamed because I don't know if they want it out there that they're involved with this, and I don't talk to them anymore, so I'm going to keep them anonymous. But the three of us kept this going for one of the shittiest periods of Mata history.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's keep going then.
Well, let's. We're gonna rate these. Go ahead and get the next transition in there. click or hit next. Yeah, so that's a 1-star incident. It's really not that bad, mate.
Okay.
We got it fixed in like 5 minutes, and then that car got back to the shop. No biggie.
Right. So
What's
next
the
one
next
then?
one? Yeah.
Oops.
Fuck.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
who
So
amongst us hasn't judged a corner like that wrong and then just bottomed out your car?
so do you notice that they did it twice?
Uh, I undoubtedly I
Look
don't.
closer to the left side of the image. You can see the scrape marks from where they went in.
Oh boy. Oh, they went in, scraped, and then this is them backing out.
Yup.
Oh man. Oh. And it's a rental truck, so you would never have guessed that. And it's because it's a rental, they were backing out, so they didn't have enough energy to get over the hump. Oh man,
Yep.
that must have fucking sucked.
That bastard shut down service for like 2 hours.
Oh, gee, you should have just at that point gotten like a chain and just hooked it up to whichever car this was in front, 754, and just
Okay, you
pulled.
see there's two people standing up in front of it. One is wearing a white shirt and the other is
Yeah,
wearing a gray shirt and
yeah.
jean shorts. So the guy in the gray shirt and jean shorts was the mechanic on call, because I'm pretty sure this happened on a weekend when there wasn't anybody in the shop. He was called to come out and take a look at it to see if we could try pulling it with 754. And his professional opinion was that if those two streetcars had been flipped around and they were in the opposite order, we could, but he did not trust 754 to do it. It's a weird one. We'll get into a little bit more detail about it later, but he did not think that it would be able to pull it out.
Uh,
Uh,
why does 754 have a red light on the front? Is what
it looks okay. It looks red. It is a white light
in an
that is
amber
in a
housing?
red housing that is missing the gold reflector behind it,
Uh,
because that car had just recently T-boned an automobile that ran a red light, and the mirror of that truck that it hit went straight into the reflector and shattered it, and we just hadn't
okay.
gotten a new one yet.
And then I'm assuming the lights on the front are red because it's just not moving at the moment.
That might be a care. I'm trying to think.
Because the car
No, I
behind it
think
has
one
red
is
lights on the
brighter.
front too.
I'm trying to remember how it was set up. I think that had hazard lights blinking at that time, so that might be why one side is brighter, because the hazard lights alternated.
Yeah, because they just look red, and I'm just sort of like, that's interesting.
We'll see some other photos uh, of those lights a little bit closer, but I don't remember what their pattern was. But there's just a little extra. One of the few things they added to a lot of these streetcars were turn signals,
Yeah,
because the city bitched at us enough about it that we had to, even though it's not really hard to figure out where it's going to go.
I'd love to see you change lanes in a trolley.
I would too. That sounds sick. I want to be on that incident investigation team.
Yeah, it just puts the blinker on, checks the mirrors, and then just there's a crunching sound as you go over the asphalt.
I did work with a very new conductor at one point who asked why I kept hitting the turn signals, because I didn't have to. Her words, "You don't have to tell it where to go. It's on tracks." And I stared at her slack-jawed for a few seconds and then said, "No, that's not for me. That's not for the streetcar. That's for the cars around us."
Does
And
she
then like a
think that
light bulb went off in her head, and it was, "Oh, that makes sense."
was that I'm assuming that wasn't Sasha, but did this nameless person also think that the deer cross at the deer crossing signs?
I should have asked her, but she probably would. And you're correct. It wasn't my wife. We'll actually see this conductor, I think, in the 2 slides up. So this is the second. Actually, this is the worst time that I got blocked by a moving truck. And it's the worst time because I didn't get free food out of this one.
Oh my god. What happened
I
with the other
did
one?
I did once get blocked by a truck not in a similar situation, but it had been parked out in front of an apartment building temporarily. And then the lady who was moving in and had the truck lost the keys.
Oh no.
So she had to wait for Penske or U-Haul or whoever it was to bring another set of keys and move it out of the way. But she was really cool. She was moving to that area because she was opening a restaurant along the line, and she offered to make up for the delay to myself. And I think this is while I was still in training. It was myself and the guy who was training me by giving us a free meal once her restaurant opened up like 2 or 3 weeks later. And we went in. The owner wasn't there, but we told our waiter what was up. He called and verified. We put in our order, and out of respect, we kept it cheap. And the waiter called again to make sure that was okay. And apparently it was not okay because the waiter came back and told us, so, hey, I just talked to so and so on the phone, and she says that you two can do better for what you had to go through.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Fuck yeah. Oh, we ate like kings. It was like Brazilian street food. It was so
Oh my god.
fucking good.
That reminds me of one time I got to create like okay, so my friends in college were always perpetually broke. I was the one with money. So one time I went home for my dad's birthday party and there was enough catering left over from that mom was like, "Bring it over, feed your friends in college." I
Oh
call
shit.
them on my way over and then I get to my apartment and they call me about 45 minutes later, "Hey, my car broke down." My buddy had like his distributor had imploded on itself like halfway down the street like a mile from my apartment. I drive over and I hadn't taken the catering trays out of the car. So I was able to cater his breakdown at 1 in the morning.
Hell yeah.
It was it was fantastic. Just a catered breakdown. More people need to have that happen to them. It's just aha, and just pulls off like a dozen like there was
I
so
feel like
much
there should be
food.
a taco truck that drives around and just looks for people that are stuck on the side of the road. And hey, we can't help you with your car, but would you like to make your day a little better with tacos?
Or yeah, or something like that. Just something that would be such a fun service. It's like a tow truck with a combination tow truck food truck. Like we will tow you to your destination, but first, would you like a burger?
We know you're having a rough day. We're here to make it better.
It's
All right.
covered under AAA. Also, speaking
That's a
of
potential plan.
speaking of cars for just a second, I'm looking at this. I'm such a fucking car guy. I'm looking at the car here. That's a Volvo 7 like that's either a Volvo 940 or a 960 right here in the corner.
It's a
I
960. It was owned by the guy whose apartment was immediately to my right.
I yes, I have I God, I have a 960, which is why I know that.
I don't remember what year it was, but he was very proud of it. We talked about it a couple of times because he was a regular rider.
Okay. I'm so glad you can tell me that because it would I'd be thinking about that for a while and whenever I have to edit this video to upload it, but my
For some reason, that stuck in my head.
I have a 960. His is undoubtedly in better condition than mine, even if he scrapped it. Um,
Joe, every time somebody asks how long I've been married, I have to do the math, but I can remember that this guy that lived on Cole Avenue in 2014 drove a Volvo 960.
oh my
He was a cool
god.
guy. To be
It
fair,
is.
he was a cool guy.
His car is this is interesting. He has the permanently up antenna. Mine is retractable, so it goes up and down every time you turn the radio on.
Those are so cool. I miss those. But
But
let's wrap this one up.
let's
Let's
get
get a rating for this one.
what is
2
SEP
stars.
mean?
This whole situation sucks, but it's a whole lot of SEP. And SEP is a term coined by Douglas Adams, the author of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And that is short for somebody else's problem.
Oh, I love somebody else's problem because it's not my problem.
I got paid. This was like right at the start of my shift. So I got paid to sit here for hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes.
Which
And
one were
there's
you
nothing.
driving?
I want to say I ended up on 754.
Okay.
And whoever else was on duty, which was actually probably very likely my wife, ended up on the car behind me there.
His wife.
She is a significant part of Mata history,
You both are. This is hilarious. Anyways,
apparently.
I'm gonna keep going. Let's.
Yeah. So remember what I mentioned earlier about putting donations for the company in the fare box?
Yeah.
So this is one of those fare boxes. Um, you can also see that nice little sign on the side that says ride free, donations gratefully accepted. And the smaller print basically says McKinney Avenue Transit is a 501c3 nonprofit, and all the money that goes in there goes towards operations and maintenance.
Yeah.
This did not stop anybody from just assuming that it was a tip jar for the cruise. Now, do you see that $5 bill that's kind of like right in the middle?
I saw the picture, the picture that's gonna come up next when you were in there, and I was sort of
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was the focus or not, but that's evil.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just hit the next?
Yeah. So if you're watching the video, there's a $5 bill that's mostly unfolded that looks a little off, like especially the top right corner of it. It has a 5, but then it also has a mirrored 5 up there. And that caught my eye. And I wanted to know what it was. Joe, will you please show them what it was?
You cheap fucks.
Yeah, so somebody stuck uh religious literature in there. This is
What?
the guy that gets the one that looks like the corner of a $20 bill and puts it mostly under the plate at the restaurant, so that the waiter or waitress thinks they're getting a $20 tip, and instead they get preached at.
I
3
can't.
stars. That ruined my fucking night. Eat shit, you
I'm
dickhead.
more astounded that they make them in low denominations. Like, surely you would just be doing that with like 20s and stuff.
Apparently not. Because you see, there's so the weird $5 bill that you could see in the other issue is definitely not sitting in the same way as it is
Yeah.
in this image. There were 3 of them in there.
Oh,
And these things are emptied at least once a day, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times. I don't remember, but somebody decided to stick 3 of them in there, and that's the one that I could see the best and get a picture of.
eat fucking shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, 3 stars. Like I said, that put me in a sour mood for the rest of the night. Fuck that guy.
That's terrible.
All right, let's look at something kind of cool.
I had a FOMO moment when I was watching him put this together, because I was like, is that a Den Haag PCC? And he was like, no, but you were close. Did I lose him again? Oh fuck.
Nope, hang on. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I hit the button. Didn't realize I did. I hit the hardware mute button. Didn't realize I did. But yeah, you were close. This is a Brussels, Belgium quasi PCC.
Now, I'm going to put on my insulting the Europeans voice. Isn't Benelux all the same? Anyways, I don't
Jesus
care.
Christ.
I don't care. Just whatever.
Well, we lost our 1.5 European listening audience.
We lost our 1.5 Benelux viewers, and the rest of them are all laughing.
Actually, I think we might have gained like 2 Brits out of that one.
I was going to say, don't worry, Europe. We'll come for each of you in turn.
Eventually. So this was a fun car. This was built as a PCC car for the city of Johnstown, Pennsylvania in 1947.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
The original number is unknown. And when Johnstown stopped streetcar service, they cut a deal with Brussels, who needed cars, but they couldn't buy the PCC cars intact because the bodies were too wide. So
it's
they
all
cut
the
a deal.
underpinnings?
Everything from the frame down and all of the electrics inside of it were painstakingly removed from every single Johnstown PCC, put in crates, shipped over to Brussels, and then they built new bodies and put all of these components in place.
That's wild. This is like RoboCop almost, where it's like, what have you done to
The $1 million
me?
man. We can build him. We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
This is streetcar body horror.
Kind of. No, Streetcar Body Horror is the next slide. We'll get
Oh,
into that.
okay. Oh yeah, I love that one.
So this was purchased by Matta from the Brussels Tram Museum in 2014. Uh, Actually, it might have been a little earlier, 2012, 2013, but it was delivered to Matta in October of 2014. And it was supposed to be the savior of the line because it was running. Uh,
Did nothing
the
else
issue,
work?
it was bad times, dude. It was bad times. This was specifically this period was when we were supposed to be running 3 cars all day. And if we were lucky, we had two.
Oh boy. Why was it such a bad time at this point in time?
I don't remember what his title was. I think he was the president, but that guy,
Oh, it's
he
just
was
shitty leadership.
the worst leadership.
Okay.
He made a lot of very bad choices.
We love
But
that.
this one had some teething issues. It wasn't anything major, but it was exacerbated by the fact that when Brussels rebuilt these, they basically did no documentation on what they did.
We love that.
Or if they did, they lost it.
We love
So
no
our poor
documentation.
electrician was having to go through and like trace wires to find out why 1/3 of the lights went off every time you put the car in reverse or weird shit like that.
Just don't do that. Just don't put in reverse. I don't see the problem.
Now, these cars, I don't remember if these are original to PCCs or if this was a Brussels edition. But this was equipped with a slow start feature in that no matter remember that PCC cars have foot pedals instead of hand controls.
Except for the ones in
Most
Chicago.
except for the ones in Chicago.
I drove that one.
I know. I forgot about that. That's so cool. But when you no matter how much you throttle up, no matter how hard you mash the accelerator pedal, from a dead stop, you will not immediately get launched off. It has a weird little relay that routes most of the power to a resistor grid where it gets transformed into heat energy and burned off, and a little bit go to the motor. So that just kind of starts moving the car a little bit. And then a relay routes the power away from that resistor grid to the rheostat that controls the voltage or controls the amperage to the motors in every other situation, and then you get your full acceleration capability. Um, we ran into a pretty serious issue where that relay that switches the power back and forth would get stuck, and it would get stuck only in the slow start mode.
Oh
And
no.
that was
Oh no.
because it was so fucking hot that the heat would get into the pavement, heat up the pavement even hotter than the air around it, and then this car would be sitting over that all day long. So around the same time every day, usually between 4 and 5, it would just get stuck in slow mode.
Because the resistor grid can't handle. Oh god.
Yeah. Uh
So
it
first of all,
was
I would like to congratulate you guys on having the real world equivalent of that old wives' tale about the car that's allergic to vanilla ice cream. You know which one I'm talking about?
I do. God, I haven't heard that in a while.
Right, because it's bullshit. But this is clearly it. It clocks out at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And then also we at work we have a boom lift that's like this sometimes, and I
Yeah.
can feel your pain of
So
being stuck in slow mode.
it was a point of contention between management, mechanics, and the operators, because first there was accusations that it was something with the quality of the operator, and
You're
this
not
was a
trying hard enough.
maybe we were doing something wrong. I don't know, but at this time, like I said, for the most part, we were only able to run 2 cars at a time. Who was on the night shift? But my wife and I. So I was being nice and I was letting her have this car all the time because it was much more comfortable than whatever else we had running. So they said that she was doing something wrong.
Oh, so
So,
we got the sexism too. That's lovely.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. The so I talked to her and the managers and I said, "All right, fine. I'll keep her off of it." Because at that point I had become a manager for the night shift. And I said, "I'll keep her off of it. I'll start running it. Let's see what happens." And what do you know? It fucking happened to me too. Because this doesn't care whether you have a pecker or a hoo-hoo, it's gonna break.
It doesn't care whether you're Zach or Zach's wife. It will. It's very egalitarian like that. It's very European.
It is. It is. Brief note before I continue on with the story. You can see a conductor sitting in that car over there. That's the one who thought that I put the turn signals on to tell the car where to go.
Also, I noticed it's sitting on a turntable. I didn't know that you guys had a turntable.
Yes, so that we could run single-ended cars because the south end of the line has a loop, but not the north end.
I thought, okay, I saw that on the map. I thought that there was just like a balloon loop or something. You should have told me when I was down in Dallas. I would have sat there and watched that happen. That's cool as hell.
Oh, my bad. But yeah, the northern end of the route looks like it has a loop, except for one little spur that goes over to City Place Uptown Station. You have to go over there, and it dead ends. So if you don't have a double-ended car, you have to turn the streetcar around.
So is it manual spin?
Nope.
Or is it...
You could see a little concrete thing behind the car that has rubber blocks on it. The other side of that has metal hatches that you can open up, and that lets you access the control computer.
Okay.
And you just hit a button. Like, it asks you 3 times if you made sure everything is ready to be turned, like you pulled the pole down and everything, and then it turns the streetcar for you.
And
if you're lucky, it goes all the way around and doesn't get stuck halfway.
Did you also start playing You Spin Me Right Round, parentheses, like a record?
God damn it, no. Should have, though. All right.
That's really cool.
So this slow start issue led to it being paired up with another piece of equipment in what I like to call the semi-permanent coupling. Will you go to that next bit? Every time it did this,
I didn't know that's why it was there.
Every time it did this, we had to go rescue it. We were not allowed to use another streetcar. We had to go get the line truck. That is either a 1966 or a 1968 Ford C700. It was a line truck for the Dayton, Ohio trolley bus system, and then McKinney Avenue Transit bought it.
Getting it down there must have been hell on earth, because they didn't truck it down there.
I would bet that they did, because they were so cheap when they bought it. Not that they're not cheap anymore, but they were so cheap when they bought it that somebody probably got a train ticket up to Dayton or somewhere near Dayton and picked this thing up straight from the Dayton, Ohio trolley bus barn and drove it down to Dallas.
And we remember from
30 miles an hour.
No, we remember from our school bus collision episode that these probably had a maximum speed of 53 miles an hour.
This one was lower. Oh, because it was geared extremely low.
Oh, no.
I mean, in theory, maybe you could have gotten up to 53, but I never had enough space to find out.
Oh, that's so horrible.
So let me paint a picture for you. It is 4:30 on a weekday afternoon.
Oh, no.
Rush hour is about to start. And 7169, the Brussels car, gets stuck in slow speed mode.
I cannot. Like how it's wrapped in different beer liveries both times.
Yes. It was the first one to get full body wraps, and we all hated it.
The car that makes you want to drink.
In so many different ways.
It's 4:30. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
It's 4:30. This thing gets stuck in slow speed mode. I am then notified via radio that it is stuck in slow speed mode. I then have to work my streetcar however long it takes to get from where I am on the loop back to the streetcar barn. And then I have to park it there, take it out of service, go get in my personal automobile, and then drive 20 minutes away to the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Central Rail Operating Facility, because that is where the truck was stored.
They don't keep it in the barn?
Nope, there's not. That is such a cramped barn. There is not room for that.
Oh my God.
So then I have to fire this thing up, get in it, and then I cannot take highways with this thing. So it then takes me about 30 to 35 minutes to get back to Uptown and get hooked back up to the stranded Brussels car. And
Oh,
then from wherever I am on the route, I have to finish the route. There are no shortcuts. I have to finish the entire route, towing
are
this thing all the way.
are you making station stops?
No. We joked about it once, and upper management got so pissed off at the idea that we never brought it up again.
Okay. Um, that I is there's only 3 people working on a shift, I'm assuming.
It depends if we had conductors or not, and whether or not we had a mechanic on duty.
Okay, but
However, the mechanic they kept putting on duty for this uh, was a woman, and they would not train her how to drive the truck.
would okay. I'm just absolutely flabbergasted at how it seems like you guys have nobody working there except for you, Sasha, and whoever the conductors are.
Pretty much. And the mechanic,
Jesus.
who is anonymized with the smiley face in the front seat of the truck.
Jesus Christ.
Shoestring operation.
Right? Is it any better now?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know that this particular car is better. They did a complete overhaul and reconfiguration of the control system for the car. It all looks the same, but how all the logic actually works was drastically changed, and supposedly it is way more reliable. But that happened after I left. I don't know any
Okay.
details. So,
So
what's this rated?
it was fixed
4
eventually.
stars. Fixed eventually. It sucked. It was always like a huge thing whenever it happened. It took so much effort just to get that thing out of the way, and we wanted it to work so badly. But it
Oh,
also was really fun to drive the truck around.
that's the worst, when you want something to work and it just is like, no. No, no.
No. No.
That's my Volvo. That's my, yeah. It's like, no.
I'm actually shocked that we could drive the truck around as much as we did, because Mata, being really cheap, never replaced the tires, as far as I know.
Oh my
They had
God.
so much fucking dry rot on them. I wouldn't drive it today, but I was much younger and dumber.
And also, you picked this up from Dayton, which means that it is made of rust underneath.
Oh, it has so much cancer. It has so much cancer.
How have you guys, how did Mata not kill anyone?
It, by pure luck, I'll say.
Okay.
They got really, really close once, but that's not a story for this episode.
We really are fulfilling the somehow part of the title of this show.
Yes.
Oh,
You wanna learn about another way
I would.
that
I
somehow
am
applies?
so excited for this next one.
Let's go. I think you have to get it twice to get the images to show up.
Yep. Hold on.
Look at that turd.
Yes, I love the Tandy Center subway.
This is a Tandy Center subway car. This particular one, it was number 143 on McKinney Avenue Transit. It was built as Capital Transit 1506, a PCC car for Washington, D.C. in 1945.
Which ran off of third rail, right?
No, it ran off of a very weird system where the trolley pole went down in the street.
I didn't know that. That's whack. I love it.
It is so weird. It is. I don't fully understand how it worked, but they didn't want overhead wires, so the pole just went. It literally reached down into a trench in the street in between the rails.
Yeah.
So after Washington D.C. decided that they were done with these cars, they sold a handful of them to Leonard's M&O department store in Fort Worth, Texas, in 1963. The Leonard's M&O store was a massive department store. Like we're talking several square blocks of department store.
And like 6 stories tall, right?
I don't remember how tall it was. I think they had portions that were 6 stories tall, but I know there was a lot of like 2 and 3 story parts as well. The whole complex was made up of several different buildings. So if you're going to have a store that big, you're going to need a lot of places to park. And immediately around the store, there were not places to park. So Leonard's bought parking lots along the Trinity River. And to get people from these far fetched parking lots to the store, they built a subway. Now, I know that in all of these pictures, none of them are underground, but to get at once you got out of the parking lots to get to the department store, you actually went in a tunnel underneath the department store, which
It is,
made it the only privately owned subway in the United States.
yeah, I know. It's my favorite bit of railway ephemera. I fucking love the Tandy Center subway.
It it was really really cool. I don't know how it lasted as long as it did because weird things were done to these cars. Like they needed to be double ended. There were no loops on the line. Washington sold them single ended cars. So, you know what they did to make them operable from both ends?
Bludging.
They, I mean, it's about as effective as that. On the quote unquote back of the car, they put in another motorman seat, another control panel, and more foot pedals. Now, all the switches along the console, those were easy enough to wire in, but the foot pedals did not directly control anything.
Was it a really
Inst-
long string going to the front?
Sort of.
Oh no.
It was cable.
That
It was at least steel cable.
it's like the cruise control on like a 90s car where it just pulls on the gas
Yeah.
pedal.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. Oh my
So
god.
if you were on the back of the car and you hit the accelerator using those cables, it then pulled down on the actual accelerator at the front of the car. And that's how they moved it.
I'm so happy. I love this stupid thing so much.
It was fantastic. So 1506 went to Leonard's M&O and became their subway car number 2. The Tandy Corporation bought the department store in 1974, took out the department store, and built 2 20-story office buildings on the land.
Was
But they
there
kept the
also still a
subway.
shopping mall or something like it?
I don't remember if there was a shopping mall. I'm pretty sure that was wiped out all at once. But Tandy Center kept the subway going because from that station, you could get to all of the offices in their buildings. You could get to all of the offices in the neighboring buildings. You could get to the Tarrant County Courthouse. So people who had jury duty would go pay nothing to go park in this parking lot and then just take a free ride on the subway and be steps away from the courthouse. And the Fort Worth Central Library at that time was also in that immediate area. So
Yeah.
it kept going as a privately run subway
Yeah,
for quite a while.
There was I'm googled it really quickly. There was a very small mall at the base of the Tandy Center, which after the anchor tenant moved out in '95, the mall declined. Also, fun fact: Dillard's operated the store and Subway on Tandy's behalf when they bought
That's
Leonard's.
right. I
So
forgot.
this was very briefly called the Dillard's Metroliner.
Oh my god, I forget about that because it's so brief.
And I'm kind of sad you didn't include a picture of the interior of the Tandy Center, like the Tandy Center end of the line, which is just row upon row of incandescent bulbs like a carousel.
I should have.
It's
I
it's
should have.
incredible. It's like, oh god, I can wait. I'm screen recording this. I can just type that in and just show the people
Oh yeah.
because I know what I'm doing. Images. This no fuck. Where's the big image? Wikipedia. God damn. This. This is Zach can't see it, but this is cool. I love the
I know
square.
what it looks like. It's so cool.
I love the square headlights. I love the little like shroud they have for the trolley pole right in the middle. This is
So let's
very close to
let's
my
talk
aesthetic.
about those boxy bodies.
Yeah.
You'll notice they're very different than what M&O was originally running, which were these gorgeous stainless steel clad, almost Art Deco PCC inspired cars to a toaster.
I
What
like the
happened?
toaster. The toaster
Of course you
looks
do.
cool.
What happened? The 80s happened.
I
Tandy Center modernized these cars by making them boxy.
that was in at the time. That was in. That
Yes,
still
it
is
was.
cool. It looks so cool. It looks and then of course when you see like the other ones like the in the Wikipedia pictures, they just look a little bit grubby and grimy. They look real. It's
Yes.
I This is what happens when Renderite escapes the drawings.
It really does look like somebody just made a lazy mock-up model for a render and slapped it in there.
Fuck you. Rectangles your PCC.
The Now these ran on the Tandy Center subway until it shut down in 2002. And when they shut it down, McKinney Avenue Transit snapped up they snapped up a car. They wanted it for McKinney Avenue Transit. It was brought over. It was arbitrarily given the number 143. Nobody knows why. And due to its boxy shape, it was named Winnie because Winnie is short for Winnebago.
I'm also kind of displeased that they did a front end job on it. So it's got the roundy headlights and like the trolley pole rewinder there.
And they put wings on the headlight. That's
come on, guys, let it be itself. This is why it doesn't work, because it looked itself in the mirror like, no, not for these fucks.
I mentioned that McKinney Avenue Transit was founded by Phil Cobb and Ed Landrum. Ed Landrum's son, John Landrum, also got heavily involved, and is still heavily involved with McKinney Avenue Transit. The redesign of the paint scheme in the exterior was John Landrum, and it is a perfect example of one of the many ways that John thinks he's doing things right.
Yeah,
and he's not.
Somebody's not over the Pacific Electric closing down.
Oh, definitely.
Also, who is Fanny Pack Santa here in front of 143?
I cannot remember his last name for the life of me. I just remember that his name was Richard and that he ran the day shift. His morning routine for like 20 years was to show up in the car barn, make a beeline straight for the bathroom that was attached directly to the break room, not the one that was out in the shop, and take the smelliest dump every morning for years. He would not use the other bathroom. You could not convince him to do so. That was just his revenge on the world, I suppose.
Every electric transit organization apparently has a weird guy named Richard. IRM has one too. He runs their trolley bus department. He's a very nice man, but he collects payphones and things like that. He collects phones.
I think I've met him.
He's so nice. We love him. Every time my group of friends goes out to IRM, we love seeing him driving around in one of the trolley buses. The trolley bus department is basically just him. So I don't think he's allowed to die ever. Fortunately, he's not an old guy, so but
yeah, I'm pretty sure I've met him. I think he came down to Dallas for a visit once.
I bet. He's such a nice he's a very nice guy. Go to IRM. IRM's great. Specifically earmark your donations if you donate money to one of the parts that isn't the steam and diesel shop, because they have money already. Give it to like the trolley department or the car department. Give it to the car department or the trolley bus department or something like that. You know, that's your official PSA. Donate to the smallest organization within the museum.
Well, you know who could have used some more money?
Mata?
Probably actually no, the Tandy Center. They made some very haphazard repairs on this.
Well, yeah,
so when this thing arrived at Mata, it was another one of those cars that was supposedly in running condition. It is on record.
Why do you keep discussing my Volvo like this? I know it doesn't work.
Winnie only made a full round trip under its own power once.
Uh-huh.
It was plagued with issues, the vast majority of which were electrical. And when the electrical issues were temporarily quelled, the air conditioner quit. You see those big windows that don't open and let in a lot of Texas sun? That
Yeah.
renders the car unusable if the AC is not working.
Yeah.
So it didn't match the vibes of Mata at all. It felt weird. The interior had longitudinal seating that was lined with red velvet. It had red carpet in there. Fluorescent lights ran along the length of the
I'm
ceiling.
seeing no problems. All you need to do is every time the doors open, it plays the opening violin riff from the Dallas theme.
Oh my god.
Like da 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 da, and then that's it. That you've just they need to make it be entirely 80s.
Well,
I know.
we'll get
I
to why they
know.
can't. So it the electrical issues on this car were constant. Like the Brussels car, it had so much work done on it over the years, and none of it was documented. Uh, a lot of the parts were straight up not meant to be on a street car. They were actually off the shelf Radio Shack parts because the Tandy Corporation owned Radio Shack,
Well,
and
Radio
the
Shack
Radio Shack,
was Tandy. That
yeah,
was their big thing. Yeah.
and the
Did he
Radio
have an
Shack headquarters
Optimus?
was in Fort Worth. So to keep the service up, they kept the subway running with Radio Shack parts wherever they could.
Did the radio on it? Did it have like an Optimus branded radio?
No, no, none of the cars have car mounted radios.
Oh, I
They're
well
all
no.
handheld.
No, I was no, not like that kind of radio, like a tape deck or a head unit or something. Because that was
No,
Radio Shack's home brand was Optimus.
no, unfortunately not. It did have speakers though, which make me think that maybe it did at one time.
Yeah, there's an either that or you open up a panel in the back that's never been opened and there's an Optimus branded receiver with an amp.
Next time you come down here, I'll pull some strings and we can go check it out.
Dude,
But
absolutely.
I'll show you where we have to go to do it.
I know. I think you told me it's like the worst neighborhood in the world, but I'm down. I'm so.
So why don't we see more pictures of this car on Meta? Well, because like I said, it only made a full round trip under its power once. Every other time it would quit and had to be towed back by either the truck or another streetcar because that was long enough ago that they were still allowed to do that. And it would go into the shop. The poor electrician would have to get in there and try to figure out what the problem du jour was and work on it. And one day in, I want to say 2007, 2008, maybe, I'm probably going to be corrected by that. My dad and I went on a day trip out to Dallas to go ride the streetcars. And we got on, we were riding around. The motorman of the car that we were on mentioned that they were going to try to bring this car out today. And they were going to be trying right about the time that we were going to be going by the car barn. So we got off and decided to watch to see if it would come out. And then we could just hop on it right there. I watched as I watched as through this big barn door that I couldn't really see into. I heard two dings, and then I saw Winnie began to creep out of the car barn. It was a tight curve. They had to take it fairly gentle out of there, and they're getting into a busy street with traffic. They got about halfway out the door, and the electrician at the controls stopped to allow a car to pass by. And then all of a sudden, there was a bang, and a flash of flame shot out from underneath the car.
Outstanding.
The electrician began screaming and cussing and saying horrible things that I couldn't have even imagined at that time. They ran out, pulled the pole down, and the electrician just was screaming and throwing a fit right there in the street about how he was done. He was tired of this. He was not going to work on this anymore. It was a stupid fucking idea to get this car in the first place, and they've wasted so much money on it. I don't remember what they used to move it again, but he shoved it to the back of the shop and it lived there for years until they finally towed it out, put it on a truck, and shipped it to its final home.
That was
Let's
almost
take a
like
look.
my reaction when I found out my Volvo had its oil leak. So,
Let's take a look at where it ended up.
womp womp.
Oh, once again, we're over at the Dart Central Rail Operating Facility, and it is just stored over off on the side of the yard on a piece of panel track, along with another PCC car from Toronto that that Mata owns.
I
And to be frank, of the two cars sitting there, the straight up PCC from Toronto is more likely to have a viable operational future.
what do you think happened to that car? Was it a traction motor flashover?
I think it was an issue with the rheostat arcing, like having a
Fantastic.
severe arc. And the
Oh,
rheostat controls the flow of current to the motors. So if that's not working, you're not moving.
yeah.
And if it's catching fire, it's definitely not working.
Yeah, I bet. I also just had one question before we go. If we go back to the last slide, it says Dart streetcar stop here. Did Mata actually get like Dart branded signage, or is this like a precursor to the Dallas streetcar?
So that was a result of Mata opening this extension to City Place and becoming a quote unquote official Dart route that was just operated by another company. That was the only bit of Dart branding on the entire route was
Oh,
on that shelter.
okay. Is it still there?
Everywhere, no. This
Hmm.
whole section right here got replaced by the turntable we saw in the last slide.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere else, you could see a little maroon sign on that combination light pole and
Yeah.
catenary pole. That's what the stops were marked with
Where
everywhere else.
so they put the turntable like right there, basically.
Uh, if no, it's actually slightly farther back. Like if I was standing right there at that same spot as the photographer today, I would probably be right on the edge of the decorative structure for the turntable.
Okay, so there's some lost tracks under the pavement or whatever. Is how did they
No,
turn
they're
the
still there. It's just like the
Oh,
shelter is gone. The tracks just lead up to the
oh.
turntable.
How did they turn the cars then?
Every single car was double ended.
Oh.
So they just changed which pole was up and moved from one end of the car to the other.
So which
They
car did they
installed what?
oh, which car did they buy that made them go, "Oh shit, we need a turntable."
The Toronto PCC cars.
Okay.
But oddly enough, those none of those ran for Mata for quite a while.
Did they
Uh,
know they were they were single-ended when they bought them?
yes, which is why they wanted the turntable. It was
Okay.
planned for a long time
Oh,
before
okay.
they actually got the money to do it.
This wasn't like they showed up and it's like, "Where's the control stick?"
No, no.
Okay.
No
That would
surprises here.
okay. Right. So we'll go through this slide and then are we good to go on to the next one?
Yeah, I guess we oughta. Because would it be an episode of Somehow You Didn't Die on Your Way to Work if I didn't say in a dramatic voice, February 27th, 2015?
Oh boy. We're drinking the original light pilsner on board Betty, which I
Before, go on.
there's so much going on in this image just because I wasn't expecting there to be snow in Texas, but also I need you to know that every time I've seen the name Betty in this presentation, I'm imagining the way it's pronounced in the movie Kung Pao Enter the Fist,
I
which I
don't
hope
remember how was that.
my name is Betty. Have you never seen that movie?
I have, but I haven't watched it in like, oh my God, 15 years now.
It's just a funny way of saying that. That's it. That's my name is Betty or something like that.
Well, since you talked about the name, I want to, I'll explain what all the car names were another time, not in this episode, but I want you to look at the way that that name is put on that car.
With paint?
That is hand painted.
I bet. Yeah, it looks pretty.
I have to give a shout out to the most talented hand lettering artist I have met. His name is Robert Opel. He put names on all of the cars like this for free.
Oh, that's so nice.
He is an amazing artist. He's a really sweet guy. Him and his wife both are fantastic people, and it makes me smile every time I see their work, not just on the street cars, but other little places around Dallas too. It's so fun.
Yeah, because what we've got so far in this podcast, we've got Matilda is the W2. Rosie
Yep.
is the Porto car. Betty is this one. What did they name the Brussels car? Mistake.
Emma. It should have been Mistake, yeah. But that one is named Emma. I can't remember why off the top of my head.
Okay.
They also have, fuck, what is there right now? The single truck Bernie car is Petunia. Uh, the Toronto PCC is named Margaret. And what's the last one? The Dallas Turtleback car is named the Green Dragon.
Okay. I've seen the Green Dragon. That's the one they have the weird fucking drive mechanism on it, right?
No, that's this one.
Oh,
Betty.
this one has the weird drive. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've tell them about the weird drive mechanism then, because it's
We're going to, because it becomes a key part of this story and why I said the date. February 27th, 2015. You could see in this picture that there is snow on the ground.
Is this from the day?
This is from the day.
Oh, wow.
So I took this picture because it was kind of weird that I was stopping and turning around here. At this time, the downtown loop was not opened. The end of the line was another 4 blocks away from where we're looking right now. But to get there, you had to go down a really steep hill and back up another really steep hill to reach the intersection of St. Paul and Ross. Management decided that due to the conditions, due to the conditions, it was not wise to go up there. The weather that day was terrible. The daytime high was 28 degrees Fahrenheit, which is -2 Celsius. There was light snow and something I have never heard of before or since, ice fog.
Oh, that's supposed to be scary to you. Okay, I'm sorry.
For Texans, it is. I legitimately have not seen this with my own eyes since. And I didn't see it when I was living out in the mountains of Arizona either. That's a weird phenomenon to me.
You're soft, spoiled. You were sitting there describing this. I'm like, yeah, and?
Yeah, and. So let's see. I have to check. Where are we going?
You're going towards the scene of the accident.
We are. Can you go to the next slide, please?
No. Hey, we've got diagram. I love that you made these diagrams.
This is why I said that this was supposed to be a low effort podcast and it turned out not to be. So this is what you would encounter if you continued away from the camera in the last shot. You would cross over Woodall Rogers Freeway. You would then go downhill. At the bottom of the hill was Munger Avenue. It's a T intersection. And from this perspective we're looking at, it dead ends at our view and continues away from us. Then you go up that hill to Ross Avenue, which was, at the time, the end of the line. I took that photo back at the intersection of St. Paul and McKinney because it was weird that we were turning around there. I didn't know what was going to happen later that night.
So where you took the picture was to the right of Woodall Rogers?
Correct.
Okay.
That would be another just shy of 2 blocks to the right.
Okay.
Now, the car I was assigned to that day, as we discussed, was Betty 754. That car is very unusual in that every other streetcar that MATA has uses direct current traction motors. John Landrum wanted to experiment with having a car that was powered by AC traction motors because DC traction motors were getting harder to service and find parts for, at least ones of that particular size. So this car was equipped with 4 AC traction motors. It was also equipped with a VFD to take the 660 volts DC that would then transform it to I don't know how many volts AC.
VFD is variable frequency damper, right?
I think the D is damper. I think you're right. I know VF is variable frequency. Can't remember the D. It's not what she said.
Yeah.
So these AC motors are a little more sensitive than DC motors. You can't quite abuse them as much. So to ensure that these AC motors were being treated within Specifications. This got a different control system. What looked like an original control stand was actually just a shell. And every time you moved the throttle, you were moving it, instead of moving it to another point in the controller and changing what contacts were touching in there and how the power was being routed through the resistor grids and whatnot. Each notch was telling a computer, I would like to speed up at this rate, or I would like to slow down at this rate, because it also had dynamic braking.
Oh, wow.
Now, there was a little.
And it sounds weird when it runs too, doesn't it?
It does sound weird because the motors don't directly connect to the axles, they're chain driven.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to mention that because you told me about that when I went down to Dallas, and it does sound fucking weird.
It so one of the weirdest things I found is that if you stand next to a modern trolley bus and 754, they sound almost exactly the same, except that the trolley bus doesn't have the chain drive clanking noise.
Wild.
Yeah, I did a double take when I went to San Francisco and I heard a bus like going into dynamics going down the hill, and I was like, what the fuck? That sounds familiar. I had to really think about it for a second. Now, this computer also controlled the air brakes on the car, which is problematic. I didn't like not having that as an option at all. It would
What, it like
only engage.
automatically gauges when you need to apply the brakes?
Yes, which was once you got down below about 4 miles an hour. And the dynamic brake wouldn't be effective anymore.
Okay.
Now, all of this was controlled by a computer that was being run on some kind of custom homebrew software.
Oh no.
And
Oh
if
no.
you did something that pissed the computer off, it would put the car into emergency braking and then lock out the control stands. And you had to go into this little computer or a little screen that lets you access parts of it and go to a maintenance mode and have somebody from the shop come out and put in the maintenance code to unlock the controller.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Now, this thing had so many issues that I was able to talk to the shop personnel and have them just give me the code so that I didn't have to call them out because I tried to stop just a little too quickly going downhill and freaked it out.
What's
because it was very sensitive. No, it wasn't quite that bad. It was something.
969.
No, I remember it was the same. It was the same as the security code for the shop building itself. It was the year that Mata was founded, 1983. I hope they've changed that by now because I just aired that to everybody.
If you would like a free streetcar,
if you want a shit ton of brass and copper, please go to 3153 Oak Grove Avenue. And when the alarm starts going off, the keypad's in the break room and try 1983 to see what happens.
If we get sued, that's going to be hilarious.
I didn't sign an NDA.
No, that's
I don't give a fuck.
Even better.
All right. So now we have now you know how that car acts weird. We're going to learn a little bit more about how that weirdness plays in a bit. But what you need to know is that around 1700, 5 o'clock in the evening, management reevaluated conditions. One of them drove their car down St. Paul Street and took a look at it and said, that looks like it's been cleared out enough so that for now, we can start running cars all the way to the end of the line again. And to be perfectly fair, the manager that drove down there and made that call, I trusted him a lot, so I was okay with it. You know, I told him we'll keep an eye on it, and if we need to later tonight, we'll cut it off. But for right now, if you think it's good, we're probably going to be okay. Let's go to the next slide. Now, much later in the night, around 8 o'clock in the evening, I arrived at the end of the line at St. Paul and Ross. Because it was so cold outside, I had almost no riders, so I changed ends, changed the poles, moved my handles down to the other end of the car, and sat there and waited for my departure time. While I waited, I picked up exactly one rider. It was a regular that I was friendly with named Lamar. And you're going to feel real bad for Lamar here in a little bit,
Oh no.
which I felt really bad because Lamar is a really nice guy. All right. I left. I need to go outbound towards Uptown, which in this image is towards the right of the screen. I went, departed Ross, went down to the bottom of the bowl at Munger, had to apply a little bit of power to get up out of the bowl, and then had to stop for a traffic light at the intersection of St. Paul and the Woodall Rogers service road. And that's when things got bad.
Oh no. Do we have a
I slowed
specific
down.
time?
I do not. I could not find the original incident report. I tried. I tried to stop. I almost stopped because I put the controller into braking notches. The dynamic brakes came on and we slowed down. And then I got down to below 4 miles an hour. And the air brakes tried to kick in. But they didn't.
Oh no. Did the lines
What did-
freeze?
Yes.
Oh boy. We love southern states having no heaters on equipment because why would it ever freeze?
Well, to be fair, they had considered this possibility. They put an air dryer on here.
Huh.
But then everybody kind of forgot that it was there, and apparently it never got maintained. So it developed a crack in a gasket somewhere and was getting water in after the drying stage, and nobody noticed
That's fun.
until it froze while I was sitting at or trying to stop for this traffic light.
Okay.
So it
you
was
have
the
no
computer.
brakes.
The computer thought it was applying brakes, but the air pressure was not getting to the brake cylinders itself. So Lamar and I began riding Mr. Landrum's Wild Ride, and we went backwards down the hill, just in a complete free fall.
You've
The-
got to love the like moment probably where you reached the moment that you stopped and you ran out of momentum going up, and then just like that-
Yeah, but I felt the bottom fall out of my stomach when we started rolling backwards. I ran to the end of the car that was pointed towards Ross Avenue and was trying to stop, and I couldn't. I tried hitting the big emergency brake button and nothing would happen. I tried going into dynamic braking, but because I had hit the emergency brake button, which can also only be reset by the mechanics code, the controller wasn't doing anything. So then I had to try to scramble to put in the code, unlock the control stand, and then try to go into dynamic braking again.
Poor Lamar.
Poor Lamar, indeed. It gets worse. It was very pissed off at me because it was icy, and when I tried to go into almost any amount of dynamic braking, the wheels would slide. And then the controller would lock out again because it thought I was trying to damage the motors. So I ran back and forth, blowing the whistle, trying to keep everybody out of this lane and from coming out of Munger Avenue, or out of the intersection at Munger Avenue. Let me think here. We went back and forth a couple of times. And at one point, I reached Woodall Rogers, began rolling back inbound again. And when I went by Munger Avenue, I saw headlights coming down that intersection. Can you go to the next slide?
Oh God.
I reached the Ross Avenue end of the hill and then started rolling backwards again. And I ran to the other end just as this unknown automobile came out of the intersection at Munger. And mind you, St. Paul Avenue is a one-way street from Woodall Rogers to Ross Avenue towards the left in our image. So this guy in the automobile was looking to where he was expecting traffic to come from and didn't see me coming.
Do the
until
trolleys run bi-directionally on this otherwise one-way street?
all of St. Paul was one way. So when they wanted to go back outbound again, they had to go against the flow of traffic.
Oh, that must have been so fun. But continue.
I hated it. So just as this guy starts to pull out and make a right turn onto Munger Avenue, Here comes me on the heaviest single streetcar that
Oh,
Mata owns.
oh no.
And I hit his corner panel and spun him into St. Paul like a fucking top.
God.
Eight. And I'm still moving with a fair bit of momentum. And I'm worried about myself. I'm worried about Lamar. I'm worried about whoever the hell that was that I just hit. But we went back and forth a couple more times.
Are
Me
you on
trying.
Are you on the radio at all trying to tell anybody help?
No, because you know what? I was the highest level person on duty
no.
right then. And I knew that at that time, there were two other streetcars. No, I take it back. There was one other streetcar out on the line at that time. And I knew where he was. And it was nowhere near this. So I wasn't worried about telling him yet.
Okay, that's... I apologize for breaking the flow of this. It's just like,
Oh, you're good.
You're the... It's like, hey, I need an
I'm
adult.
the adult here.
Oh no, I'm the adult.
I'm the adult here.
How old were you when this was happening?
20. I think I just turned 23.
Oh my... You're a manager and
Yeah.
running this... Oh my god.
I should say that I did not ask to be made a manager.
I bet.
I also did not. I also told them when they made me a manager not to put Sasha on my shift because I felt that made a conflict of interest, but they still put her on my shift eventually anyway.
Fantastic.
That led into problems. But that's unrelated. So eventually I do run out of momentum. I kept trying to reset the control stand, trying things that would work on normal streetcars, like just putting the reverser in reverse and reversing the polarity on the motors, which does cause a massive amount of drag. It damages the motors a little bit, but it helps you stop in an emergency. No, that pisses off the computer and locks out the control stand. The dynamic brakes end up slipping no matter how little I try to apply, and that pisses off the computer and locks me out. I have no control of the air brakes whatsoever. Like, there is a brake stand present, but they specifically took the handle out and kept it out so that it could only be controlled by the computer.
Oh my god.
Well,
Quick, Lamar, help me construct a handle.
Oh my god. And there's no hand brake, so there's no physical thing I can do to set the brakes.
Jesus Christ. What do they do when it's out of service? Just chalk it?
Yeah. Which I had to do once I finally ran out of momentum and stopped right just short of Munger Avenue at the bottom of the hill.
How is Lamar taking all of this?
Lamar is surprisingly chill.
Okay.
Like, he's concerned, but he is surprisingly chill. We get stopped. I jumped out and threw chocks under the wheels, got back on, and I checked with Lamar. Lamar's cool. He's all right. And I said, give me a second. I'm going to go check on that car that we hit. And then we both heard tires spinning in the ice a little bit, and we looked over just in time to see that car take off up the hill.
Interesting.
I don't know why.
How long did this whole thing take?
Oh, 3 minutes, maybe?
So this guy sat at the bottom of the hill until you stopped and then ran off.
Yeah, from the time I hit him to when I stopped was, I don't know, that might have been 3 minutes. Maybe the whole thing took 6 or 7, but it was not very long from when I hit him to when I actually stopped.
Okay.
And it was pretty clear something was wrong because I did go back and forth a little bit, a couple more times. But, I'm losing momentum.
Oh, you
That's what finally
coming back down?
Well, he got thrown into St. Paul Street, clear of the tracks. So he drove off, so I had to call my managers and tell them what was going on and that something was seriously fucked up here. Didn't know what at the time yet. And because that's technically a hit and run, we have to file a report with the police. Let's hit that next slide. 2 cops showed up. One of them parked in a traffic lane on St. Paul. The other parked on the outbound side of 754 on the tracks, which at the time, I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't going anywhere. I didn't see an issue with it. I didn't say anything about it. So I'm talking
Okay.
to the cops. I've been there for about 10 minutes or so when the motorman on the other streetcar calls me on the radio, uh, and said that he was somewhere nearby and was coming my way. Just checking to see if I'd gotten out of there yet. And that's when I had the thought to tell him, it's like, hey, no, had this happen, if you want and you feel comfortable with it, why don't you just come up to the top of the hill at Woodall Rogers, turn around there, and then go back towards City Place? And he said, yeah, that's fine by me. Here I come. I poked my head into the car where Lamar was still waiting and gave him a heads up that, hey, uh, there's going to be another one up at the top of the hill, up by the Hunt building here in just a moment if you want to go up there. He's like, all right, cool. I appreciate the heads up, man. I hope your night gets better. I was like, me too, Lamar. I really hope it does. It
Okay.
did not.
Oh no.
This other motorman arrived at the top of the hill and
Do you need
he
me to
was
go to the
on,
next slide? Do you
not
have
yet,
more?
not yet. He, would it be? Yes, it is the next one. Let's get him at the top of the hill. So there we go, 636,
Which
sitting at the
car is
top of the
that?
hill. That is Petunia,
Which is
the single truck Bernie car.
okay.
These cars are interesting in that, or at least this one is interesting in that it had doors on both sides, but only on one corner of each end. So when you're sitting in either seat, there's a door to your right, and at the other end of the car, there's a door on your left.
Okay.
Mata has to use both sides in regular service. So the way they had it rigged up to be controllable from both ends involved a little valve that had a handle on it that was very finicky. And when you went from one end of the car to the other, if you did not leave that valve on the end you left in just the perfect position, when you got to the opposite end and tried to control the doors from there, they would start acting up. Like you try to close it and one opens. You try to close that one and the other opens. And sometimes it takes a little trial and error.
Okay.
So this motorman calls me on the radio and says, hey, if you're able to, I'm having an issue with the doors. Can you come up here and help me out with it? And I said, sure, no problem. I told the cops I'd be right back. Walked up the hill and got on 636. And I start futzing with the door handles because I knew what was going on and knew what needed to be done, and that I was more patient and probably going to be able to figure it out sooner than this motorman would. And it doesn't work the first couple of times. I keep opening and closing doors, and these are air powered doors.
Yeah.
And after 4 or 5 attempts, I try to close the door immediately to my right, and it just opens up again. And then the car starts rolling.
Oh my god.
I looked at the brake stand, and the brake was in the fully on position. I actually had to turn around and look because the car was set to go up outbound, and I was on the inbound end. But it was the brake handle was in the brake stand, and it was fully applied. And then I looked at the brake gauge in front of me, and it was showing 0 psi in the main reservoir and 0 psi on the brake cylinder.
And the air pump has just failed, hasn't it?
It popped a breaker.
And you've been
It popped a
fucking around with
very loud breaker, and this operator somehow, or this motorman, did not notice that the breaker had popped and didn't reset it. So when we were sitting there and fucking with the doors, I pissed away all of the
all
air.
the air reservoir. Congratulations, Zach, for being in a Thomas the Tank Engine season 5 episode.
Pretty much.
This is outstanding.
So now we're rolling down the hill towards 754 and the cop that's parked between us and 754.
Well, you did tell him you'd be back in a minute.
Yeah.
And
I didn't think it was going to be that way.
poor
And also,
Lamar.
I was about to say, if you didn't catch it, Lamar is now on the second runaway streetcar of the night.
You and Lamar have like an experience that almost no human has ever had.
So, fun fact, I would also see him when I later went to Dart to run the light rail trains. And every now and then he would like stop by the cab as he got off the train or something, knock on the window. And I'd open the window and say, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "Hey, man, just wanted to check, making sure this one's not running away on you, too."
Oh my god.
So here we go. We now have the streetcar, which I should. This car already had passengers on it. It had a family of 5, mom and dad, and 3 young girls. The motorman for that car, me and Lamar, and we start free rolling towards this cop.
Oh my god. Hey kids, do you want to see a cab in action? Fuck the police. Boom.
Well, this car had a way that I could have stopped it. And this one in particular, if I had put the reverser in the opposite direction of travel, and I think I had to go up a notch or two on the throttle, that would slow us down. It might not have stopped us, but it would have slowed us down significantly. However, I was freshly off of a car that didn't work on, and I'll be completely honest with y'all, I locked up,
I would
and I didn't
too.
even think about that. So I didn't completely lock up. I forgot about the controls that I could do, but I did have the presence of mind to
Tell everyone to
take
hold
these
on.
sports. You know what? Actually, I didn't say anything to the people in the car. I had a sports whistle around my neck that I would use for traffic control when loading people in on and off the streetcars at certain spots where cars like to try to run the passengers over.
Okay.
I got that in my mouth. I stepped down onto the exterior step of 636 and began blowing that whistle just as loud as I could.
You are a Thomas the Tank Engine character right now. I want you to know that.
It worked.
I bet that must just
The,
have been the scariest thing for the cop. You just hear a whistle and you see an uncontrollable streetcar hurtling down towards you.
and you know what? I got his attention, and there was a cop sitting in that car. I got his attention, and at the last second, which I'm so grateful he heard me because I was really worried about making a ham sandwich. Uh, he cut his steering wheel hard to the left. So when we slammed into him, instead of sandwiching him between the 2 streetcars, he was just like force ejected out to St. Paul Street. And then we hit 754. Let's go to the next slide. There's where we hit him. He got launched out of the way. Go to the next one. And there's how we came to rest. Now, the family was rightfully terrified by the whole incident because it was a hellacious impact both times. I thought we would have lost a lot more speed from hitting a cop car, but we didn't. The family was panicked and ran off. Lamar was like not uncharacteristically, for the situation that he was in, he was unreasonably calm. I checked with him again. He was not hurt. And the only thing he said was, "I guess I have to walk to work tonight, huh?"
I
And it was like, God damn, yeah, I'm sorry,
At a
Lamar.
certain point you can only just be chill.
Yeah.
I Oh my god.
So
Bet you he had a
let's
story for The Office.
oh he actually worked at a grocery store further down the line, so he may have told that to coworkers and customers for all I know.
I would be crowing that at the top of my lungs.
Well,
I'd be taking
you want to see how it actually ended up?
Yes, I
Because
do.
now we have pictures. Let's go look.
Oh, crunch. How loud was it?
My ears were ringing for the rest of the night.
Oh my god. Oh, and you went down the hill with the back pull up.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the gotta
because
be
we were supposed to be going the other
I
way.
know, I know. You were back pulling. How fast did you get to?
I really could not tell you. It felt like 100 miles an hour.
God, I'm amazed the pole didn't come off. That's honestly incredible. Also, I love the little stop sign that came out? Like that's gonna do anything?
It kind of did when you used it where it was
Not
supposed to be
now.
used, but yeah, not there. So there's the cop car that I totaled, and it was totaled. And this was, I don't know, maybe a minute after the impact, and everybody's still reeling. I think the cop on the far right of the frame is the one that was in the squad car that got hit. But go to that next slide. We'll see some other photos. You might have to hit one more.
There
you go. So top left, we have the cop car. I believe that was a Dodge Challenger.
It's a Dodge Charger.
Charger, that's what it was. And on those, it is unibody. So if you fuck the body up that much, it's totaled. It is totaled. Top right shows the point of impact on the two street cars. It's hard to tell. I could not get a great, or I didn't get a good photo of it. But on Petunia, it hit so hard that there were sections of the body that were caved in so much that you could see out, like you could see to the exterior from the inside.
Oh my God.
Bottom left is the control stand for Petunia. This one got me in quite a bit of trouble with the mechanic that had just rebuilt this end after it had been totaled by, or not totaled, but it had been completely wrecked.
Fault?
He wasn't actually mad at me. It was just the timing. Yeah. But this end had been all but torn off by a cement truck a little while ago.
Oh boy.
And it had been back in service for like a week. And he did look at all that copper plumbing for the air. He did all of that by hand. It was all new wood on that end too. And I stove it in.
Oh my God.
And bottom right is a broader scene, or a broader image of the whole scene. That cop that got hit ended up requesting an ambulance, and he left in that. I never heard what happened to him physically, though I did hear he got in trouble for parking on the streetcar tracks. Because I had to go and make a report to Dallas police about what happened. And that was part of their investigation for a little bit.
This is fucking wild. Was there like an NTSB report about this?
No, it was amazingly hush-hush. Like, nobody seems to know about this except for the people that were working there at this time and now the listeners of this podcast.
This is great. I love information. This can also fulfill our quota of "But did you die?" section.
Almost. Now, fun fact, this was right before Sasha started working at the streetcars. Instead, at the time, she was working at a bar. And this happened while I was waiting on various things throughout the night. I was texting her pictures of what was going on, and she was showing them to her coworkers at the bar. And I finally got to leave here and go home around 1:15 in the morning.
When did your shift usually end?
Let me...
Because I actually have no idea how late Matto runs.
It depends on the day of the week. Let me look up a calendar for 2015. So let's see what I say. This was the 27th
of January?
Of February.
February
27th would have been a Friday night, so we should have stopped at midnight. And usually that would get me clocked out and gone by 12:30. But this happened around 8 o'clock, and I didn't get to leave until 1:15. So I left, made a very careful drive home, parked the car, and then walked down the street to the bar where Sasha was working. And as soon as I walked in the door, the normally cheerful and friendly bartender saw me, locked eyes with me, and then immediately just pulled out a glass of ice and filled it with whiskey.
God bless. That's exactly the response.
That man was my hero that night. And wouldn't you know it, whoopsie doodles, some of that whiskey disappeared, so I ended up not getting charged for it.
Yeah, no, that's how it goes sometimes.
So that's the hell night, and that's the night that Zach totaled a streetcar. How many stars did this get? Let's take a
All of
look.
them.
All 10. Would not recommend except for totaling cop cars before it was cool.
And you said this was the 27th of February.
27th February 2015.
Um, I was just going through an old iPhone that I had to see what I was doing at that point. It seems like I was screenshotting memes from either Tumblr or iFunny.
Jesus Christ.
I don't actually have any pictures because, digital files can still somehow degrade. Always
Yeah.
have double backups of your archives, kids. Don't assume the cloud providers will save them for you. But yeah, so no, I don't have any. I don't even know what the fuck I was doing with those pictures of, but whatever.
I was getting paid $11 an hour to be a shift supervisor and total cop cars.
I'll be real with you, man. If at that age I would have jumped at the opportunity to drive a trolley. So good
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah, I mean that I came back because I was like, this is really cool. I liked what they were doing last time I was there, and I had a good friend that worked there, and the guy who became, I want to say he was the president, like right before I hired on, really fucked this place up. And we had warned him that the control system for 754 was janky and that something bad was going to happen, especially with that lockout.
Yeah,
And it did.
It did. So what happened to these two cars? Because obviously 754 still runs.
Oh yeah, Petunia still runs too.
Okay, they just got fixed.
Yeah, they just got fixed. I don't know about the big steel bumper, the quasi anti climbers on them. The last time I looked 4 years ago, you could still see all the dents that I put in the bumper on 754.
I sent you the pictures of 754 I took from.
You know what? You're right. You're right. Let's take a look. And that was, what'd you say, April of last year?
That was when we went out for a beer and a burger at that place was what, Lee Harvey's?
Yeah, Lee Harvey's. Is that the end? No, that looks too neat. Let's try. Sorry, everybody. I'm looking through photos that Joe sent me earlier today. And there are some really high-res images of this car.
Through the rest of them because I took several hundred, and I figured I just wasn't going to bombard Zach with all of them. Aren't this
I
live?
think. Yeah. There's the damage. It's still there.
Take a screenshot and send it to me so I can just pull it up.
All right. It's in a different paint scheme now, so it looks odd, but I promise this is the same one. Add that. We're professionals. We're prepared.
I'm giving myself an editing job so I don't dox your ass. But cool. Let's see.
All right.
I knew these photos would be relevant.
It's very hard to see on the steel bumper itself, but the thinner sheet metal above it that's caved in, is from that impact.
That's fantastic.
Because let's see. Let me go back to the slide and look. Yeah, okay. On the slide that we're looking at, the top right photo, you can see that the steel bumper on Petunia is just ever so slightly higher than the one on Betty.
Yeah.
And that folded in that sheet metal up top, and they just never fully smoothed it out again. Hell yeah, that's so cool.
Perfect.
I can't believe that's still there.
Yeah. That's great. And I bet you've screwed up no, that would be the same idea because you hit the car and then imagine being that guy that you hit the first time. Just get broadsided by a trolley like you're on sweeps week on a CBS drama, and then you have to just leave and then you just bounce because you
I have no clue why he left.
Oh, I know exactly why he left. Takes stock of the situation, looks at the train, because I bet you weren't looking, but I bet you that light you had a green light.
There was no traffic light there.
There wasn't anything. Is that a traffic light on top of the ambulance then, or is that? Oh, that's the building across the street. Okay,
Yep,
but
that's a catenary pole and then a window on the building.
okay, the guy. I'm willing to bet the guy was like, "Fuck, I have no insurance,"
That's probably what it was.
and then just sort of like ran.
Yeah.
But
Well, again, it wouldn't be a somehow you didn't die on your way to work episode if we didn't talk about what we learned.
did
So let's take a look at that.
we learned many things?
I learned a lot about professional standards. First, safety first. Mata cut a lot of corners when it comes to maintenance. Um, I don't know if they still do. I have not been involved in just under 10 years now. But at that time, they were cutting a lot of corners. Like we had cars with brake shoes that only had a third of the brake shoe actually touching the wheel.
Oh
And the rest
boy.
was just splayed out to the side, and it would not slow you down in some places.
Yeah.
Next up, public transit is expensive. You cannot run public transit in any way, shape, or form on a shoestring budget, especially vintage streetcars. Motormen cannot be paid $11 an hour considering the level of training they need to have, especially at a place like Meta, where you are expected to do a lot of diagnosis and repairs in the field. Cannot skimp on maintenance, can't cut the money from there either. I can make suggestions on where to cut the money, like the president that was later caught embezzling, and that's finally what got him fired.
Oh boy.
Oh yes, that's a story for the next one.
Oh,
Third
I'm
up,
so excited for the next one.
respect your workers. Like I said, the mood at Meta was dark. There was a little bit of disrespect from low level managers to the crews and mechanics, and upper management was just like downright spiteful of everybody. And it showed everywhere. Everybody was very high strung. We all had fairly quick tempers, um, but we were pretty good about keeping it out of the passenger's eyes, because at the time we wanted to make it seem more professional than it actually was. And last up, I am not management material. I told them I didn't want to be a manager. They made me a manager. Um, I told them I'd be a manager as long as they didn't put my own wife on the shift that I was managing, because that was a clear conflict of interest. And they kept to that for about 2 months and then moved her to my shift. And it caused a lot of problems.
Are there any
I,
that you care to elaborate on, or are they personal?
okay, so a little bit of it was personal, but a lot of it was just uh, the constant accusations of favoritism.
Oh, yeah, you love
Constant.
that, don't you?
Yeah, because I was very much in favor of, if I had an issue with somebody, I would pull them aside and talk to them in private.
That's good leadership.
And I would do the exact same for Sasha. So she she had places where she messed up. She was not a perfect employee, and I would talk to her in private. But somehow, because I wasn't like screaming and yelling at her and dressing her down in front of everybody else, but I was treating her just like I did everybody else and talking to her in private, I was playing favorites.
That's We love that. We love the toxic work environment ossifying into a managerial style. For
Oh
the
yeah,
record, if anyone's listening, that's good management. Praise in public, and criticize in private.
yeah. Don't do like one of the other guys that was the loudest about me supposedly playing favoritism. He got really mad at me one day when I tried to talk to him about something, and he began yelling at me that I was picking on him, and if I really had an issue, that I needed to go look at that stupid bitch I married. And it was that was a dark time.
Yeah, I wonder why you don't work there anymore.
that actually also plays a lot with the first bit there, safety first. I didn't like their safety standards. But as a manager, I was being paid to enforce policies that McKinney Avenue Transit had. And we're going to touch on the biggest one that I got complaints about. Let's go to the next slide and learn about Zach's legacy at Mata.
Did you put the meme I made in here as well, or
Oh, I did not, but I should have.
I can pull it up or something. We'll do that in just a second.
So we're gonna. Do y'all remember TripAdvisor? Do you remember having to go to TripAdvisor to find out where you wanted to eat or what you wanted to visit when you came to town? McKinney Avenue Transit has 5 1-star reviews on TripAdvisor.
Two of them aren't like relevant or anything.
2 of them are for a company that runs tours using a bus that looks like a trolley. The other 3 are for me.
That is really funny.
So here's this first one. Most of the trolley operators for this M line are nice and friendly, but I had a worst experience yesterday. I was hanging around Magnolia Theater in West Village, and a trolley car passed through a stop next to Starbucks around 9:20 p.m. on this date. All right. Want to note the way McKinney Avenue Transit works. It's like a bus. If there is nobody at the bus stop and if nobody on the car says they want to get off at that stop, I'm not stopping at that stop. So I passed this stop that was outside of this Starbucks because nobody was there. Nobody on my car wanted to get off. The car stopped after about 200 feet because of the red right. That's supposed to be a red light. There's a traffic light there. That's right. I tried to catch it with my 3-year-old son on my shoulder, but the operator smiled at me without opening the door. I legitimately thought that he was just like waving at me and showing his kid the cool trolley. He says then, I tried to give up and decided to wait for the next one, but the car stopped again after about 100 feet and opened the door, and the operator come out and looked at us. So I crossed the intersection, and then I was like, wait, shit, that dude probably wanted to get on. I crossed the intersection, I stopped, opened the door, and looked back at him, and was trying to like point at the car and point at him and point at the car, like, hey, you want on? I'll wait here. And he says that he ran until he got close enough to reach my arms to the car, and then the operator abruptly closed the door and left. He was standing on the other side of the intersection and turned around and left. Like, he turned around and walked away from me. Back to the review, my son kept me asking why the train stopped but didn't give us a ride. With frustration and humiliation, I couldn't say anything to my little one. I still can't get away from the mocking, evil face of that operator until now. I don't want to be a victim of mockery, so I'm never going back to ride this trolley. I got so lucky because this guy gave a date and a specific time, and the managers figured out that that was my car. And I was very lucky in that I happened to be on the streetcar that they had equipped with cameras all over the place just to test a specific security camera platform. So they pulled me into an investigation. I want to say it was the Green Dragon.
Okay. But they pulled you into the investigation, and like they actually
they just showed me this, and the 2 managers that were there did not know how to work the camera system. I kept asking them to pull up the cameras, and they finally had to go find the guy who knew how to do that, who somehow wasn't one of the managers. And he pulled the tape from this and showed this guy just like giving up and me trying to ask him if he wanted on. But somehow that translated to me being evil. I don't know.
That's hilarious. I love that, like, this is back when people took internet reviews seriously.
Yes. Now,
because nowadays this wouldn't even warrant like a conversation.
I did not get written up for customer service issues. However, I did get a written warning for trying to load or unload passengers at other than a marked stop. Let's go to that next review.
It's young, terrible male operator. No, speeding and honking. Oh my god.
August 6, 2015. That one's a little later. There was me and there was another young male conductor. I think I know who that was. He's completely innocent in this. This young male full of testosterone was speeding and honking constantly at every pedestrian and car around us. Lived in Uptown for 13 years and have been on the trolley a few times prior to this incident. And this time we were in fear for our safety and for the safety of all the other passengers inside the trolley and for all the pedestrians and surrounding cars with people.
It's hilarious that she thinks you were young and full of testosterone when I saw the photo of you.
There was like maybe a quarter of the level of testosterone there should have been in that body. But this lady basically thinks that I was operating insanely. And this was another one that got me called to the carpet for an investigation. Now, we are just over a year after the last incident. Good news at this point, all of the cars have been equipped with cameras and GPS. So they pulled it up. And what was I doing on this trip? I topped out at 14 miles an hour.
Fantastic.
And why was I honking the horn all the time? Well, because we'd had a lot of issues with automobiles cutting off streetcars like right as they were starting to move from a stop and getting in collisions. And the managers were reasonable about that and didn't want anybody to get written up for that. But they had asked us all to sound our whistle twice, just 2 quick doop doops when you're about to start moving. And then if you see a car that looks like they're thinking about merging right in front of you and they're just not paying attention, tap that horn. And it's not even a horn, it's an air whistle.
Yeah.
Make your presence known. So I got called to the carpet and then had to remind them that I was doing exactly what they were told as far as making noise. And then I let the GPS data speak for itself. 14 miles an hour is nothing. So, 2 ways that I'm following, I was following instruction, but still getting chastised for doing so. What's the next one?
Well, actually, while you were saying that, I went to my old iPhone and I went through my
Ooh.
photos to see what I was doing on August 6th. I think that's the day that I got my first prescription for contact lenses. So while you were getting yelled at by a proto Karen, I was discovering what peripheral vision was.
Oh my God. Boy, that's quite a feeling, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no,
I remember
seriously.
that.
What's
Oh,
your contact prescription? How bad is yours?
-7.25 in the left eye and -7.5 in the right.
Hey, someone as bad as me. I'm -9.5 and -9.
Well, that's what they were.
I'm so bad. I have the like legally blind thing on the back of my driver's license, and I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do with this, because I can't find the car if I don't have my contacts in.
I've seen that before.
So
Actually, funny enough, my prescription was bad enough that my streetcar motorman certification said that I had to have corrective lenses on it.
it's one of these things like, yeah, I guess, but like what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I'm not going to try anything without them. That's for sure.
I can barely I know where the bathroom is now. That's about it. But let's go on to this next one. My family attempted to catch the end. It was 99 degrees. It felt like 105.
Mom is a senior citizen. Niece is only 7 years old, and I were sweating profusely.
Yeah, it's Dallas in July.
Oh, I pause this one for a second. I forgot about the last line on the previous one. Zach was very rude and sarcastic to me and told me that I could complain to anyone that I wanted to and yelled his name at me. This is unacceptable.
With 2 exclamation marks.
2. I remember this lady. more remember watching it on camera than I do remembering her, but she was getting very loud and defensive with me. So I did get like a little worked up, and she was screaming at me about how she was going to complain. And I told her, it's like, fine, go ahead. Complain to whoever you want to. I don't know what your issue is here. And that phone number that she posted up there was for Dart, who has no control over me or had no control over me. So I don't even know if they knew what she was talking about.
Either that, or there's some poor asshole named Zach who spells it CK, who's
Oh my
getting.
God. Yeah, somebody over at like all the ZACKs at Dart that are operators are getting
Yeah.
pulled over or
Also,
pulled
what's
into
really
the
funny
office.
is I searched your name in TripAdvisor once I found these, and really these were the only ones that came up in regardless of spelling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right.
let's go
Back to
into
that
this.
one that we had started. We were only 100 feet away from the trolley stop when it pulled up. We waved to alert the worker that we were coming aboard. We began to run towards the trolley when the operator, Sasha Lybrand, and the conductor, Sandy Bui, pulled up to where we were and stopped the trolley. So they weren't at the stop. Sasha left and then stopped at a red light. And then they tried to get on there. And because I'd gotten chewed out for trying to let somebody on and off at other than a designated stop, she wouldn't let them on right where she was sitting. And they say it's because we weren't at the exact pickup spot, which is only a few feet away. That spot was actually the old stop at St. Paul and Ross. By this time, the extension had opened, so Sasha pulled all the way up to the light that's about 150 feet away from that stop. And she first tried, again, we have cameras on the car, so I got to see this because for some reason, because they pulled me into this meeting since I was the manager. Again, conflict of interest. I don't know why they brought me in there, but I got to see all of this. She tried to direct them to the stop at the other side of the intersection, and they refused. And she said she couldn't let them on there, but if they could go to the other side of the intersection, there was a stop, and she'd let them on there. And they took offense to that. The next streetcar that came by them was mine. And I was on a car that was having motor issues. I don't remember what it was or what the issue was. I remember that it was 636, the little Bernie.
Okay.
But
Oh, I was
something
say,
was
I thought
going
it would be
on.
the Brussels car because
No,
it was after 5.
no, I was still moving. I was able to move at a decent speed, but something squirrely was going on. I don't remember what the exact issue was, but it was enough that I was like, I don't want anybody to be on here in case this goes really wrong. I was just running it back to the barn. So they got really mad that they first couldn't get on a streetcar, not at a streetcar stop. And then they got really mad that they couldn't get on a streetcar that I genuinely believed was not safe for them. And they got so angry at that they left and gave me a bad review on TripAdvisor.
They spelled your name wrong. What really is fascinating is they managed to get everybody's name, but still spelled your name wrong.
So at that time, actually, this review is the only one that got it right because at that time, I was spelling it CAK.
Did you all have name badges or something?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And I spelled it CAK because I wanted it to be cool and unique and different. And there's not a K anywhere in my legal name. Not super long after I left Matt, I was like, I think it's time I just spell my name ZACH. Let's grow up just a little bit.
I also like how this woman is saying it's 99 degrees and it felt like 105, and she's from the notably frigid destination of New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yeah, you ought to be used to this shit, bitch. What the fuck?
But also, I am loving
That was rude. I apologize.
These 0 thumbs up from any of these, meaning that no, but I probably have read these more than anyone.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what? Somebody may have read them more than you. Let's go to that next slide. Or that next one.
Yes.
This is the only 5-star review that mentions my name. As a matter of fact, it's the only other review outside of these other 3 that mentions my name. Really enjoyed my first experience with the trolleys. During my trip, I was able to ride with Leo, Sasha, Joseph, and Alex. They each made the ride fun, blah, blah, blah. Enjoyed riding the trolley.
Having a
Tried to
female
go ride them
driver is
several more
cool.
times. Although I didn't get to ride with Zach one of the nights because the streetcar was unsafe to ride. I very much appreciated that he was honest about the conditions of the mechanics. I'm glad he cared more about my safety than me wanting to ride. Overall, really enjoyed my time on Dallas and the rides on the trolleys, blah, blah, blah. This one made me really happy for quite a while because I was like, look, I'm just out here trying to do the right thing. And finally, somebody recognized that. I use this with several arguments with upper management. And it was like, look, I'm not out. You could see it on the video. I'm not out here picking fights. I'm just standing my ground. When you tell me to do something or not to do something, I'm going to do or not do what you told me to do. I don't want to put myself in any sort of liability and break those rules. So can't get upset with me. And hey, look, this one finally recognized it. I rode this high for a little while, and every now and then, for years after I left McKinney Avenue Transit, I would think about that. I left in November of 2015. And I want to say 2019, probably May or April, I was helping one of my former coworkers move. And she was a mechanic that I had worked with at the streetcars. And we're just kind of bullshitting while we're loading up the moving truck and whatnot, and talking about the managers that had pissed us off. She was like, oh, yeah, I knew they had a vendetta for you. That's why I left that review. And I said, excuse me? And she goes, yeah, the one that has 5 stars that mentions you and like Alex and Sasha and Leo. And I think Joseph was in there too. The one that mentions all of y'all specifically. I left that.
Name.
Yeah. And I was like, that. I appreciate what you did, but man, you just kind of deflated my balloon a little bit. But it was all the people that this woman was one of the mechanics that, or was the only woman mechanic, and she was dismissed a lot. Everybody she named in there were the people who treated her like a person.
Being able to name everybody who's nice to you at work must be awful. Oh
yeah.
My God.
Yeah. So to give you an idea, that's what the mood was like at MATA at this time.
Oh God. I hope it's gotten better.
I hope so too. I'm not going to go back and find out. Funny enough, Leo, who was mentioned in this, he and I actually hired on with Dallas Area Rapid Transit on the same day. And he was telling me that he decided to leave because of the mood about safety around there. He felt it was being disregarded a lot. And he is, again, one of the most, well, I haven't said this already, but Leo is one of the coolest, nicest people I've ever seen. And it is hard to get him pissed off. And the fact that he got pissed off enough to finally leave a job that he considered a dream job says a lot.
Yeah.
He left that to go drive buses.
And we know
that's
how
a choice.
Dart treats their bus drivers, don't we, Zulita?
Oh my God. Yeah. I hope he's still doing well over there, whatever route he's on now. I haven't talked to him in a while. But all right. I see
I hope it
I see on the slide deck. I think we tried this before and it doesn't work.
Nope. I have to hit escape and then go back, and then there we go. I made this meme. I am very funny. So there's your fucking levity for the night. Now we have reached the end of the
line.
Gareth Dennis, if you're listening to this, radar buffers those traffic cones.
Oh God. Funny enough, that was there because this was like right after they hung the overhead for the extension into downtown, but it wasn't open yet. And that was our sign of how far we could go before we would hit dead wire.
Ah.
Okay. So if you went past that point, you were losing power. But hey, you could just release the brakes and roll down the really steep hill to get back into the powered section again.
Yeah, we love running without brakes in 754.
I hated that car so much. I still
Local
do.
local body shops love him.
Oh boy. Yeah, I kept our body shop guys pretty busy.
Oh, I was talking about car bodies, but yeah, um,
Oh yeah, yeah, both.
God.
So that's a little taste into some of the shit that I saw working uh, in what should have been one of the coolest public transportation jobs anybody could ever get.
But nah,
I
toxic leadership is toxic.
Yeah, the worst of the leadership is gone, but there's still one pretty bad one there, and I'm not going back until he's gone.
Do we want
If
to
I ever
name
go
him
back,
so people know, or do we not want to?
I'll say it this way: in my personal opinion, John Landrum has no business being anywhere near these.
Ah,
So many of these bad ideas are because of him. 754 being the way it is because of him.
okay.
And
Duly noted.
I'll put it this way: he was the Ross Roland of McKinney Avenue Transit.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh boy. That says so. Okay, I get it now, man. Oh boy, I'm so sorry you went through that. But
But hey, he wasn't the one embezzling at the very least.
is that better though? Is that worse? Is that better?
No, I kind of have more respect for the guy that was embezzling a shit ton of money.
That
No, maybe I don't. He was pretty
everybody,
shitty too. There is no
everybody,
winning here.
everybody deserves it.
Yes. All right.
But
What's that last slide that you
so
put in?
this one is something that I have for me. So this and for the audience. So I went on. Okay. We last episode you might have we might have mentioned that we were trialing Zencaster, and I forgot that I had downloaded the audio files from this episode immediately after we did it. So I was like, on the day that the Zencaster free trial was going to expire, I was like, oh shit, I don't know if they're going to like not let me download them because of how the videos because it's a longer file. So I should do that. A problem was that I was on vacation at the moment. So this is where I was. Let's see if it actually shows where it is. So that might not make a lot of sense, but that's actually really fascinating as to where this is. I'll explain more on that in just a second. Let's go to this other one. And I have turned the volume all the way down, just so we're aware. Yeah, that's Niagara Falls. So that second video is me at the bottom of Niagara Falls. This first video is honestly the greatest advertisement for, let's see if for Rogers Mobile Canada I've ever heard of, which is me standing underneath Niagara Falls, because there are the tunnels that you can walk back through
Yeah.
going under there, and I got cell phone signal in one of them, and I was able to start
Hell yeah.
downloading what part of our audio before I had walked away and the signal went away. But more impressive than that was immediately after I did this, was immediately before I did this, which is why I thought to do this, because I did the other video as like a joke more than anything, but it was actually downloading. The This one, 2 minutes beforehand, I'm standing again. I'm like, you're like 300 or 400 feet under solid rock of Niagara Falls, right? My phone starts ringing
Jesus.
because my mom was like, how are you doing? And so I was just like, I actually got to say, do you know where I am? As like as I like took the phone call while standing underneath Niagara Falls.
Hell
And
yeah.
then I was like, oh, I can do this bit now. And of course, it started the download, but I walked away, and actually the audio files were so big because there was like, it's like a 3-hour fucking long episode, that the that I got to the limit of the free data that they gave me, which I didn't know was a thing, and then it was like, nope, now you get 3G.
Oh,
I didn't know that 3G was still a thing.
that's what I was about to say. But hey, there you go. Now you can see we are listening to the listener input. We're trying different things like Zencaster to try to make the audio quality a bit better so that I'm not blowing out your eardrums while Joe's whispering.
Yeah. It is just amazing I got the service under Niagara Falls.
That is pretty
But
cool.
never say I'm not dedicated.
We are certainly a dedicated pair. This is our first lazy episode, and we made it a whole 11 episodes in.
And even still, I got it. How long have we been going for? We have been going for 3 hours and 41 minutes in our lazy episode that has hand-drawn charts and everything. In what universe is this the lazy episode? This is the individual study episode.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Really.
Yeah, I didn't have to study. I think that's the big thing.
So this is the moderately less effort one.
Yeah,
But
this is low effort by perfectionist standards.
This is low effort for us. It's
Pretty
only
much.
3.5 hours long.
There you go. That was not nearly all of the stuff I could talk about that happened at Mata, but I didn't want to be here for 6 hours. We'll probably do another episode at some point where I will show you more pictures of more people doing stupid things.
We should get Sasha on as a guest.
Oh my God. We could get... There's a homie of mine that's interested in being on the podcast, and I think he has to be on the next Mata episode.
Oh, so we just get 4 guests, like 2 hosts, 2 guests. One of them is your wife.
My wife. And the other is, I think if I say anything else, he's going to get mad. We're going to have my wife and my wife because we definitely have a bromance going on. Love you, Mike.
So we'll have to do this. We'll have to figure out how to logistically do that.
We'll find a way.
Otherwise, we'll just get Zach and Sasha shouting into other sides of the microphone.
But there we go. Thank y'all for sticking around through this and sticking around through shitty audio in previous episodes. We really appreciate you listening. It's not a whole lot, but I appreciate all of you. This is just something we do for fun.
Yeah, this is fun.
It's fun to see you guys spread this around.
I was so excited to do this one because I was like, oh my God, I can show Zach what the fuck the Gettysburg has been doing. Because that whole conversation, the reason why I heard that is because I mentioned the podcast while I was at IRM with my group of friends. And one of them was like, oh yeah, I know about this, and proceeded to tell me the stuff that the engine had wrong with it, because they know people at Anonymous Steam Institute, and they told me all the stuff that they had heard from people who were there.
Oh God.
And so, also, I saw Heist at IRM, which was fun. Heist.
That sounds like a story.
It's really not. Heist had an entire gaggle of people with him at all times, and I'm not sure how many were his posse versus hangers on. But at one point, it was really funny. I saw him walking around, and I said hi, and he looked in my general direction, and I concluded the social interaction with that, assuming that a greeting had been registered. And moments later, like maybe less than a minute later, one of his team comes over to say that he didn't hear me, and he didn't want me to think that Heist was ignoring me. And I was like, we were all just so baffled by this interaction. It's like, what is happening here? I also didn't.
This is going to bother me slightly now. Whenever you're done, go back to the end slide.
Okay.
So we can actually have the end at the end.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
You threw off my groove, man.
An error occurred. What the hell?
You know what? Nope. End it right here. End it right there. We open with a beer can cracking. We end with an error.
I've never seen that. What the fuck? That's fantastic.
End it, end it, end it,
Yes,
quick. It can't get better.